Hey, I'm glad the stream is working. I'm trying something a little different. So last time I went through OBS first, and that worked fine, but it didn't save the chat to the VOD. So now I've started a live stream through YouTube, and I'm hoping that that is going to be fine. No, it is. Now you've got two names. Is everything working though? See, with what YouTube opens up, it's a little bit different, so I can't really tell what's going on. Okay. I notice the chat is faster. I set the latency down. Let's see. I need to change that though. Call this Ghost of a Tale. We'll go stream. There. Okay, well let's swap over and see if this works. I need to go studio mode, scene. Here we go. Oh. Hit that, there we go. Okay, looks like we're live. So, this is another freebie game from GOG. I don't remember when I got it, but we're gonna try it. Ghost of a Tale. It's basically like supposed to be an open world, little animals, I don't know, kind of reminded me, the screenshots reminded me of the Redwall novels. Anyway, let's start. Oh, there's no dialogue here. In the beginning was the green flame, a force without conscience consuming all in its path. The creatures of the world fought back, but one by one they fell, only to rise again as puppets of the emerald fire. It was the rats alone who stood and fought, until at last, at Periclave, the green flame was extinguished. Is it pretty good? I'd never heard of it before. Mira, where are you? You stood before the Baron, your wife Mira at your side. He bid you play the poisoned cup, and you knew then this was not for his amusement, but a test. And so play you did, but from Mira there was only silence, and a look of such defiance. He moved to strike her, the Baron, and you cried out and went to her, and then darkness. How many days have passed since then? In your heart you know she's still alive, and that you'll one day find her. Until then all you have are these flowers, your memories of her, and a question. Why? Close? This is not a good start. Okay. Basin is empty. This is empty. Chamber pot. Nothing inside. Not yet. Mushrooms. Your health is low. Press tab to access your inventory and eat. You can find inventory information about quests and lores here, okay? Food. I can sleep. This is a dungeon prisoner simulator, I guess. Apple core. Grate. The grate is cemented into the open floor and cannot be opened. Bread. Mysterious message. Meet me at the top of the watchtower. Cover your tracks and move unseen. Okay. Oh, there's another key under there. Well, how convenient. I'm not a huge fan of the control scheme right now. Oh, we can climb, though. That's cool. We can get to a basket of apples. Maybe. Maybe not. Red rose. New page has been added to your flower book. The bars are cold and unmovable. All right. So sometimes the music. What about the ambient sounds? Seems like sound effects are loud enough. Well, I don't know. I'm not really hearing anything. I think the music was fine where it was. Maybe there's no... Maybe there's no sound like that. Okay, now I can hear it. Maybe a little too loud. Okay, it's very subtle. Anyway, what else was in here? We got a figurine of your child. Your trusty lute. We got some clothes. Minstrel. Stale of bread. Stale hunk of bread. Your book of characters and their costumes. The garb is simple and not austere. Every minstrel is required by their guild to wear a hood and a belt. Okay. That's not what I wanted to get out of. Your songbook. I really am gonna struggle with this. And then we got the key. Alright. You used the cell key. Escape the jail. Cell manifest. Tilo the minstrel acts as sedition. It's locked. You've attracted a guard's attention. Quick, go to the chest and hold right and left instead of left and right to hide. Don't forget you can hide in many different places. Is this going to be one of those kinds of games? I guess I'll quick save. You can run really fast. Thank you. Wait, who was that? Chest is empty. Yellow buff. Tread lightly and try not to wake the guard. Get in, damn it! So the game lied to me. about being able to hide in a fucking barrel. So I can hide in here. Somebody to talk to over here. A stick. It's really dark in here. I can't talk to the frogman. Green bug. I don't know why I want the bugs, but I guess I do. Let's just take your mushrooms here, bud. Old pirate frog. Ferret's balls. What do you think you're doing, Mousy? Barging into my cell uninvited. Do you know who I am? Ferrets are renowned for their wedding festivities, which involve magnificent balls, often danced at a breakneck pace. Okay. Because I have no idea. You don't know your own name? No. Oh, wait. Carol Red Whiskers. That's it. Carol Red Whiskers. At least I was navigator of the Lake Witch under Captain Otto Powderkeg. Oh my god. A stocky barrel of a rat with a short fuse, Captain Otto Powderkeg was captain of the Lake Witch, a galleon that for more than a dozen years terrorized the merchant ships that ferry goods between the 5 great ports of Lake Valia. It's said he'd wax his tail and set it alight before going into battle, and it was this that gave him his name. Captain Powderkeg gained notoriety for his crimes and fame from the handsome wanted poster, which he himself had printed up and distributed in order to bolster his renown. The captain was finally captured when his ship wrecked against submerged rocks just off the eastern shore of Lake Valia, near Dwindling Heights Keep. The cause of the wreck was never established, and it will likely remain a mystery, for once the doors of Dwindling Heights closed behind him, the captain was never heard of again. This is going to be one of those games. So, you've come to rob me, have you little scrunt? What's a scrunt? A word too rude to define, thank you. Of course not. 2 things I can't stand, the smell of mice and the smell of lies. What'll it take to get your stink out of my cell? Was it you that helped me escape my cell? What do these chains tell you, Mousy? Does it look like I could help you escape? I suppose not. Aye, and I wouldn't if I could. Okay. I need your help. Is that right? And what's in it for me? Perhaps I could try and find the key to your chains to set you free. Free? Why would I want to be free? Being free is what got me put in here in the first place. Well, that and the piracy thing. No, I've got everything I need right here. Damp air, all the flies I can eat, and my own stool. But there is something. Down the corridor, the sleeping guard. I need you to strangle him. Why? Because he called me a pirate. But aren't you a pirate? Aye, and proud of it. But it was the way he said it. Like being a pirate's a crime. Isn't it a crime? Aye, it is. And I'm not ashamed of it. Then why do you want me to kill him? Because he called me a pirate. We're just going around in circles now. Exactly. So, you'll do it then. I mean, I'm not a murderer, but I'm probably going to have to be. I could try. Arr, come on, laddie, I'll pull in your leg. I'd never ask you to do something like that. I'll do it myself when the time's right. Why don't you just steal a bottle of rock gut for me then? And I'll see if I can't help. Rock gut is an alcohol made from putrescent oleander wood and something of an acquired taste. Coincidentally, taste is the first of the 5 sentences to be ruined. Sentences. 5 senses to be ruined by rock gut's consumption. Okay. Mushrooms. So the whole "it's dark" thing, I imagine, could be alleviated with this. You need a sewer key. There's going to be a lot of quick saving. Or not. I guess I can't quick save unless it prompts me to? You need the jailmaster key. I don't know, is the camera a little too... That's not what I want. Too loose? I guess I could turn off motion blur. That's a little bit better. Empty basin. Well, now it's empty. Can I get in it now? Now I can get in it. I don't really see how this is hiding, though. Maybe rats are very blind or something. Yes, I know. Apple. Mushrooms. How can I see where my hunger is? Bucket? Oh, this is gonna make noise though, isn't it? It's a candle. Damn it, I'm trying to get the bug. I don't think I'm supposed to be going this way just yet. It's another locked door. Alright, can I save here? Maybe? Alright. I guess that makes sense, in a way. They don't just want you spamming quick save wherever you can. You need the candlestick. Oh, okay. I can light the candlestick there. What in the hell? Well, that's cheating. Why did that go off? So now I gotta go into the barrel? I can tell this is going to be really annoying. I do not get along with stealth games very well. Okay, I'm going to guess he's back asleep. I see. Oh, that's annoying. supposed to be the sloshing of the rot gut or something that woke him up? Pusillanimous. What does it mean, this word? It means lack courage, sure. Ah, in that case. What are you doing in my cell, you pusillanimous little merkin? Here's the bottle you wanted. It's his last one. Good, now pop the bottle's neck twixt my lips. With a deft flick of his head, the frog sends the bottle spinning across his cell. It shatters into pieces against the wall. You son of a bitch. Every time the scrunt gets soused, I have to put up with his damn snoring. A word too rude to define. Okay, you keep doing that. Well, no more. I've done as you asked. Now will you help me? I was thinking that that was going to smash and cause noise, and I would have to run. I gave you my word as a pirate. But I suppose I can make an exception. I'll answer a few of your questions. What does you want? I'm looking for someone. Mira, my wife? Is she a mouse? Wearing a hood, yes. Then who could say? It's not easy to tell you mice apart, with your ears and your tails and your silly hats. Kolba. A mouse's hat or hood counts among their most prized possessions and is a source of great pride, representing, as it does, their profession and their social status. A mouse of any repute is never seen by any creature save for their spouse without their kolba. There are, however, notable exceptions. It's said, for example, that while occupying the town watchtower in protest against harsh working conditions, the quarry mice of Hume threw off their hoods, emphasizing to all the seriousness of the matter, whilst at the same time making it difficult for the soldiers of the Red Paw to later identify the culprits. So you haven't seen her then? Put in alone you were, like I said. Right then. That's your first question, asked and answered. What dungeon is this? You're in Dwindling Heights Keep on the shore of Lake Valia. I don't know if I'm going to read the text for all of this stuff. For centuries, the Keep of Dwindling Heights has defended the eastern shore of Lake Valia. Though once a fine building, the keep has long since fallen into disrepair. Its greatest enemy no longer marauding ferrets, but instead the acidic waters of the lake, which are slowly eroding the cliff face on which the keep stands. It's for this reason that among the locals the fortress has become known as Dwindling Heights. You'd best get used to it. Right then, now I'll give you 2 more questions. How long have I been here? Let's see, must have been more than 10 days now since they brought you in. Dead to the world you were. Right then. You got 1 question left, Mouse. You best make it count. Do you speak, Mouse? Only the curse words. Right then. That's your lot. Are we all square? You've told me almost nothing. I gave you more than you deserve, ungrateful scrunt. Don't you think you owe me at least something? Only thing you got coming from me is a good strangling. With what? He's got his tongue. You've only got 1 good leg free. I have killed mice for less, and with less. Ugly little. I tell you what, take a look behind me in my chamber pot. There might be a couple of florins in it for you. The florin is the official currency of the 5 Rats provinces. Its coinage is minted in 1F, 5F, and 10F denominations from a naturally occurring alloy of silver, gold, and copper found only in the Sarastra Mountains. The coin bears the emblem of the Red Paw on its face, though some older florins featuring a portrait of Roderick, the last Rat King, are still in circulation, colloquially known as cowards. These coins are greatly prized, for they are substantially larger than their modern counterparts and so can be melted down and recast in molds struck from the newer coins. 3 cowards can be used to make as many as 5 florins. Why would there be florins in your chamber pot? Why? I'm not going to hold them in forever, am I? Captives brought to Dwindling Heights will often swallow their valuables in order that they are not confiscated by the guards. They call it the prisoner's purse. Inevitably, nature will take its course. It's said that great wealth can be found in the chamber pots and sewers of Dwindling Heights. It's worth a few florins to be rid of you. Okay. Don't let the door snap your tail. Let's go dig around in this chamber pot. If I didn't already. Hey, florins. Okay. Banner. You'll need the candlestick for that, right? So, take what little thing I can from everything. So, I'm gonna guess then, I need to hide in that. I need to set something on fire. There's more ale in front of this thing. First of all, I need to go hide so I can save. Or we can go down into the sewer. I feel like there should probably be a key that I can steal off this guy. An empty wine bottle, hefty enough to knock out any guard without a helmet if thrown with precision, can be used to create a distraction or dislodge an item from its perch. Okay. Oh, but I cannot. I see. I mean, there ought to be a million ways I can distract this guy, right? Handkerchief. I'm willing to bet I'm going to want to be hidden when he wakes up. Is he not going to wake up? Get in there, damn it. Save before you go wandering. Back asleep, okay. It's hard to see anything in this place. That's not it. The key to the screaming door. Which one's the screaming door? Jail master key. Which I'm guessing is not what I have. Maybe I should take a bottle down there with me. Hello, Spider Horse. Ah, there's the screaming door. Okay. Well, since that is, like, the key, I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything down in the basement. Okay. I suspect they may even need that bucket, too. I'm probably okay. The flooded cell key. Well, what on earth is everyone doing with all these individual door keys? How many of these bottles can I take with me, too? That's a question. I feel like setting a banner on fire is actually an important thing for me to do here. Cause a distraction. Well, thank goodness the creaking door didn't open so loudly it woke him up. Chest decoration. Okay. Oh. Well, I don't like this. I could probably sneak past him, but I don't know where I'm going. I think I'm gonna have to knock him out. There's another... Why is there a rat guard hiding out in there? This appears to be the guard room. We're going to see if the rat notices and comes in here. Does not seem like it. Drawer. Cupboard key. Take a fate card, why not? Take the other one, thank you. Take all sorts of throwing stuff. That must be the cupboard. Can I hide in a barrel? I don't know if I need to. Candles. That might be the cupboard that it works for. Alright, I'm just gonna hop out here. Okay, so he wanders by. Pirates of Baldric. A portly barrel of a rat with an infamously short fuse, Captain Otto Powderkeg was captain of the galleon Lakewitch. He is perhaps the most renowned pirate, blah blah da 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 da. What can I do with that, though? New hood? I see. Candles? Can't carry any more candles. A hornet's nest? That seems like a weapon, but I don't know about the little... Okay. That's what I thought was going to happen. It's a trap. Okay, so I got 2 of these sackcloth hoods. I guess I do need to be eating. I see that up here in my health. The guard's handkerchief. Some barrels. I still think I should be able to use that. And there's that little cupboard up there. I'll wait until he goes away so I can go check that out. But I didn't find a guard's key, and maybe I gotta get it off that sleeping one? Come on. Oh boy. That was a little risky. Oh, you know what I need? I need that bucket. I need that bucket so I can put it down and stand on top of it. Dang it. Well, it looks like we're not getting whatever's in there. Since it seems to be something difficult to get, too, I'm willing to bet it's going to be good. This is a very slow game. Maybe I'm being overly cautious, I don't know. Florins and another bottle. I can't carry anymore. Alright. The begging door. I need the begging door key. It is possible that he has got that. Equip? Got a handkerchief. And nothing else. Really? I need the jailmaster key. Where is all this stuff? be awake and alert now, huh? So I think I'm going to have to just knock him out. Or maybe set the banner on fire inside there so he runs in there, and I don't even know. I'm pretty sure I looked at everything. I can sleep here. I don't think I want to do that. Checked out that. Checked out that. Right, I don't want to be doing that. Unless... Alright, I'm going to try something. Quick save. Oh, and it just disappears. Okay. I thought it was going to cause a distraction. Is that a goal? Am I supposed to be burning all the banners? Okay, I'll knock him out when he comes back. And then try and run back. Unless there's a sub-goal of burning all the banners. Do you? Well, where am I supposed to be going? Because I can't get through the flooded gate. I don't have a jailmaster key. Is it really that thing all the way up there? That's just an apple in there, though. At least that's what it looks like. Where did I leave? Damn it. There's the bucket. Can I stealth while I bucket? I don't think so. Boy, that rises pretty damn fast. Alright, now I don't need to worry about it. There's apples in there, and I remembered the thing. Okay, maybe I need to be up. When I was over here, it looked like I could get them. Maybe not. Maybe I can't get them at all. He won't talk to me anymore. Okay. Well, I'm irritated. About to be done with this. He's still sleeping on the ground. I don't see a key on the wall anywhere over here. I did pick up handkerchiefs from him, right? A guard's handkerchief. Inspect. Small flag. Skills? I have no skills. No, god damn it, get out. I mean, if anywhere there would be a key, you would think it would be in the guard's room. And I can't get to that guy, because he might have a key. Mushrooms? Oh. Well, son of a bitch. So now I gotta check all the walls above my eye height. I suppose I should probably go grab the prisoner manifest too. The begging door, where was that? Is that closed one? Man, this game is slow. Begging door. Okay. That looks like instant death. More sticks. I got more sticks than I need. Warning. The drawbridge mechanism is very sensitive, awaiting repair by the blacksmith. Something tells me there's a bonus for burning all the flags of the oppressors. Ladder. Okay. Oh, that doesn't look good. What the fuck? Okay. Florins. Free money. Okay, now what? That's it. I just came down here for some money. Yeah, dunny safety measures. God damn. Okay, I see nothing down here. Once again, I find I am stumped, but there's got to be some kind of key or something. We know there are specific doors around here. I don't know what the sticks are going to be for. Can that rat see me? Oh, I've got bottles. Maybe I can toss one. I don't see anything that's allowing me to... Ah, there we go. A lantern. Get in there. Save. Plus 25, so I am getting something out of it. Oil jar? Oh, it's a fill-up station, okay. Oh, good. That means there's going to be dark stealth areas, isn't there? That's going to be fun. Well, since I'm getting 25 something, I had better attempt to burn this one too. I cannot. Okay. Probably have to bring like a bucket or a stool or something in here. Probably that stool that's over there, it's not worth it. I don't know what it does, but it's not worth it, whatever the case. Is that some kind of door? Alright. Probably have to knock him out. Another key. Which he probably has, which means I'm gonna have to push this, knock him out, and then grab it from him and go. Yes. No, handkerchief, handkerchief. No, door key, there you go, the silent door. That is the silent door. I suspect I'm supposed to run through there while he's knocked out. And really, really, really hope that nobody is coming. Throw, throw, throw. Ah. Chamber pot is empty. Crosstail hearts. Okay. That's not what I meant to do. Huh. My health went up. Prisoner log. Logbook and meticulously managed. William Stout, famous pirate powder keg. Next entry looks much sloppier. Pirate taken and hanged. Okay. Willem Stout. Willem Stout has disappeared. Am I Willem Stout? Jail map. Once you have a map of your location, hold M to quickly examine it. Well, that doesn't tell me where I need to go, though. Cheese. Unquiet waters. I hear the rat, but I don't know if he's coming this way. Always seem to need a stool around here. Key. The jailmaster key. The minstrel's flight. Okay. Bottle of rot gut. So don't tell me I gotta go all the way. No, the grain. I gotta sneeze though. Alright. Well, so there are still places here, which makes me think that it's going to want me to make my way back through the cells so I can get to like the flooded cell back there, but then maybe not. This seems to be the way out. So we're just going to leave those other rooms as a mystery. And we're just going to try and leave. See, now that I got the key, I'm willing to bet there's a bunch of stuff back in those cells, but I don't really care. Oh, well. We can talk to the rat. We can't talk to the rat. We can talk to the rat. The X must mean we can't knock him out. All right there, Mouse. Are you talking to me? Nay, you're not going to call the guards. Wasn't planning to. Is there something I can do for you? What do you mean? Seems to me you're lost and looking for answers. For a few florins, I could tell you a thing or two. Okay, go ahead and ask. I'm searching for my wife, Mira. Have you seen her? It'll cost you 2 florins. It's worth it. If she's a prisoner, she won't be here. Then where would she be? Couldn't say. Okay, alright, there was something else. Yeah? I don't have money to give you. Is there no other way you can help me? This place is a maze. Can you help me find my way? I've already got the thing. I need to find a few things. I'm looking for items of clothing. I'm curious about something. Is that worth my money? I mean, I've got the map. Ooh. A guard suit of armor made from iron plate and issued as standard to all members of the Rat Guard. It goes to my waist. Now my sprinting goes down. Well, this isn't very good for stealth, but we'll see if I get out of this. Slime jars. When thrown, they shatter, leaving a pool of slime. Okay. Now, why don't we hide in one so I can save? Now, obviously, that's where I want to go, is up there. Sticks and grain. But there appears to be another way over there. Into just a little room, okay? Chainmail face guard. Fate card. Well, I don't have one of these. So I guess I'll put that on. What is it? Scrolls? Thing of scrolls. Can I shatter? I can't even seem to use this thing. For a weapon, it isn't much of one. Where does that go? Could I? I mean, this is very obviously like a secret area, right? Like, you come out that window. Now, there was a window in that cell that I was in. I think it was that window, though. So I would have to backtrack. I don't know if there's a way up, though. I never went down. Parkour! Ooh, okay. But you can definitely get up there. Jump! Damn it. saw me. I'm willing to bet this is not how you get up here, and I'm just wasting my time, but now that I feel like I can, I'm going to waste a considerable amount of time trying to get up there. Alright. Well... So these guys actually have armor. I doubt very much that the bottles are going to work on them. That's where the slime things come in. Is that a cannon? Okay, before we do that. See, there's another banner to burn. I guess I could. If I could get over there. There's a pulley. More importantly, there's a bucket that I can't pick up. Okay, well there's an awful lot of spaces here that they look like they're climbable, but they're not. This is not a banner that I look like I can do anything with, so I can't burn that. Alright, well let's go in here then. I'm curious what the lantern is for and why I'd want it. Okay. I wish I could go into first-person mode, because this is kind of difficult looking over his shoulder here. There's somebody here. Let's try going this way. Ah. Hey, wait a minute. No, this is on the other side. Red rose. Red rose, red rose. This is not... I think that was the only thing I went for, unless you can jump into the trees, but I highly doubt that. Oh, guard. Hello. Go hide in here and save. Carrots. Okay. Come back to that in a minute. Beehive's been abandoned. Pumpkin hat. It has terrible stats. Put it on just to see. Okay. Is that? Okay, it is actually. Put that back on for stealth. And then that must have a thing on the other side. I gotta collect 17... Oh, there's collectibles this whole damn time? I gotta collect 17 of those. Not been paying attention to my food. Alright. Green. I hear somebody in there. Burn the banners of oppression. I don't know why I'm even bothering with this stick. I can't swing it. There's nothing for me to hide in, so I can save before I go do this. Maybe across the way there? I hear an awful lot of guards. I don't see them. Many banners to burn in there, but I'm not going to do that. Nothing. Alright. Well, it is very likely... yeah, we're gonna have to have these, aren't we? No. Bring that out, thank you. These guys have got... Yeah. I don't think I can go that way, to be honest with you. That's probably not a very good thing. I just saved. Let's try this. I doubt this will work because he's got the helmet on. It did say use the jars. Yeah. Oh, hello. Is that my wife? Oh. I got stamina. I see. Getting caught is not the end. Alright. What I do wonder about, though, I'm going to have to cause distractions, probably. How does this work? It just causes slipperiness, which is what it said. room key. Can't carry any more of those. Okay. Do I need to whack him to be able to go up there? Do I need to go up there? Cheese. Fake card. Fake card. Cupboard. We keep going up. I don't think I'm trying to go up, though. I'm willing to bet this is actually the way we're supposed to escape once I get... Oh, hello. Mysterious rat. You have nothing to fear, mouse, not from me. It was you who left me the key? Aye, you seem disappointed. The message was written in Meridian. Why? A precaution. What do you mean? Few of the guards can read at all. None of them can read Meridian. Meridian, the language of the mice. Right. But you can. Something I picked up as a pup. Know thy enemy, isn't that what they say? Tell me your name. Sing something. Sing something. Is that a family name? You know what I mean. Are you a minstrel or a jester? If you're a minstrel, then sing. Just keep it short. The poisoned cup. Why would you play that? Do you think it would please me? It's been on my mind of late. I see. So tell me, why exactly are you here? I think perhaps you already know why. What message was that? The mysterious stranger hands you a familiar Lutka. Small figurines carved by every mouse buck to commemorate the occasion of his marriage and the birth of his children. Lutkas are made in wood or stone and stained with lime to represent the living and ash to commemorate the dead. Often carried at the waist in a small purse, Lutkas count among a buck's most precious belongings. I believe that's yours. Where'd you get this? From the jailer's office. Someone you care for. Mira, my wife. I hope perhaps she'd be here, but I saw the black Lutka in your pouch. My son. I'm sorry, truly. Mira, I can help you find her. Ow. I have it my ways. And in return, I need you to get something for me. Very well, I accept. Good. I'm Silas. Let's get started. How do you intend to find Mira? I think I already found her, to be honest. All arrests and prison transfers for the region have to be registered at the Nail. The regional headquarters of the Rat Empire, Yuva Citadel, dominates what once was the capital city of the Kingdom of Meridia. Known colloquially as the Nail, it's from this stronghold the Rat Guard has brutally suppressed any signs of revolt among the mouse population. It'll take some time to get a message to Yuva, but they'll know where Mira is being held. And Yuva is the regional headquarters at Yuva Citadel. Alright. Fetch me a scap beetle from the cage over there. A horn-flying beetle native to the eastern range. Okay. From the cage over there. The hell are you talking about? Did I just come up this way? I just came up this way, right? Or no. I took fall damage. Well, it must have been this way that I just came up. Grain. Ah, beetle cage. Beetle. As we just let all of his other beetles go away. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. This looks like something I should be able to go down. Well, here's the beetle. Is something wrong? I'm afraid the rest of the beetles escaped. Yes, that's how it happened. I just wanted to see if you'd admit to it. Why didn't you warn me they'd fly away? You should have been more careful. Anyway, they'll likely not go far. Just keep a lookout when you find them. Alright. How will I recognize them? They're big and they buzz. I will. Now let's get this message on its way. Holding it between his cup paws, Silas whistles a coded message to the scap, then gently launches the beetle in the air. With a whir of its wings, it's on its way to Yuva. Farewell, scap. Fly true. How long will the journey take? All told, it could take days for the message to reach Yuva. You'll need to be patient. Now, mouse, listen. Beneath this keep is a warren of ancient tunnels. There's something hidden down there, something I need you to find. Must be important. Something priceless. But you must be exhausted. You should get some sleep. Do you think I have time for sleep? There's time enough. I need you well rested and alert. You'll get caught or killed, and this has been for nothing. Here, the rat hands you a burnished key. Take my cot. Okay. We'll just take everything else he's got, too, bigger or not. What was that? Carrot? Carrot? Even though I got plenty of them. Silas's message logbook. Okay. Spyglass. I bet this is a thing, too. Like, if we steal a bunch of stuff from his room, he'll probably know. Bottle of rot gut? Why not? You never know who will have to bribe. Courtyard map. Oh boy. The camera is not being friendly here. We probably don't need so much food. I've got tons of food here. Clothes peg. Okay. Bottle of rat gut, why not? Foot locker. Key. Silas's figurines. Okay, we'll leave those. We don't need to steal from Silas. As I jingle my pockets full of stuff from his room. Sleep for I don't know how long to sleep. Oh, I see. Let's trying to sleep for longer so I can heal, but I can just have some food, I guess. Apple core? Surprisingly, apple cores are actually worth something. Okay. Oh, now it's nighttime, so everything's dark. It's gonna be even worse. What are you planning to do with that bottle? Drown your sorrows? It's for protection. Against the guards. You'd have better success if you just gave to one of them and to let them drink themselves to death. Okay. I saw the rope and pulley you set up by the beetle cages. I use it to bring up supplies from the garden. You can use it as a shortcut back to the courtyard. It should hold your weight. Should. I doubt you weigh much more than a rundlet of wine. A rundlet, a small cask of wine or oil. If you don't trust me, there's always the stairs. Forgive me, I have to go. So, quests. Did I not return to Silas? Exhausted after escaping. Does this not count? Do I have to put it away, maybe? There. You're up early. I didn't expect to see it till sunrise. How long was I asleep for? About 3 hours. Dawn is the best part of the day is gone. Are you feeling rested? I've slept enough. I hope so. It's time to go to work. So these tunnels, how do I get to them? It won't be easy. The lower keep was sealed off decades ago when the entrance collapsed. It's home to only spiders now. Great. You didn't mention spiders. I'm sure you can outrun them. Is that a problem? I don't care for him, that's all. I'm not asking you to make friends with him. A few days ago, one of the sentries disappeared from his post. We found his corpse down in the old armory, cocooned in spider silk. The commander's sending a small squad of 5 into the catacombs to lay traps and poison. I have orders to join them, but you're going in my place. You'll be Private Scout. Am I not a little short to be a stormtrooper here? Private Fool, what happened to him? It's a long and silly story. You'll need to put together a suit of armor, disguise yourself as a guard. But I'm no fighter. I'm not asking you to fight. Who's going to believe I'm a rat? The guards here are, let's say, they're not exactly officer material. Trust me, the armor's all you'll need. There are pieces of old suits stowed away all over. You'll need a helmet to hide your face. Look for a salad. Metal helmet with a full face guard. Also, you should prepare an antidote for the spider's venom before you head into the lower keep. An antidote? Somewhere down in the sewers is a rat who should be able to help you. His name's Faustus. He's one of the guards. He's a prisoner. Prisoner? Aye, they say he was an apothecarist sent here for failing to cure the Baron's ringtail. And it's a long story. Tor's Harem, the guard that patrols the ramparts, he's been chosen as the apothecarist's new assistant. He has a scroll tucked in his belt with instructions for how to reach this Faustus. Criminy! How do you expect me to get hold of these instructions? How? Use your imagination. Why would this apothecarist help me? Because you're going to be his new assistant. So wait a minute. The flooded jail cell. Is that the sewers? Do I have to go all the way back there? Why is a prisoner being kept in the sewers? Tilo, it's better you don't know too much. How do you know any of this? From Private Harem's own tongue. The fool was bragging about it in the mess hall. Okay? Once you have everything you need, I'll give you the commander's orders. They won't let you through the west gate to the elevator without them. Do you think you'll have news of Mira soon? Soon enough, Mouse. Look, you should get going. Godspeed and be careful. Okay, criminy. I'm going to be honest, I am not enthused to try any of this. This is already more than I'm willing to commit to. So, I would say the guard noticed I was here. Okay, and then we're back in here. Alright. All right. Well, man, interesting game for sure. Very, very, very involved. Far more than I thought it was going to be. Oop. So this place was a maze before, and now it's a maze in the dark. So that's great. I think I'm just going to hide in here, and we'll save. Oh boy. Okay. I think we're gonna call this one good. I just wanted to see what this game was about, but honestly, I don't know that this one's for me. So, let me see what I can do here. I don't want the credits. Interesting though. It's it's a good looking game. I just kind of wish that there was a little bit more of a tutorial at the beginning. And I definitely feel like I probably needed to go back. Once I found that jail cell key at the end, it probably wanted me to go all the way back to the beginning and unlock some of that stuff because I'm sure there's things in there, collectibles and whatnot, that are necessary. What else? Let's try. There's another game here I wanted to try. This one was actually given to me here. They sent me several emails trying to get me to play this one. If it'll even open here. Shut that down and try again. That's not a good start. Okay. Yep. The game doesn't even open. Okay. Well, what else do I have then? I'm sure I've got a lot of other ones actually available for testing. That is not what I wanted to do. Yeah, it's not a good sign when it doesn't even open, though. I mean, that's kind of a problem. Oh, this is just a demo. I think I can just go ahead and hide that and then... Well, I don't know, honestly. What about... Hollow Knight. Um, let's try this one. I'm gonna have to install this, so it might affect the stream. It's actually going very fast. Okay. Press enter. Bring the music down. And then we'll see if Discord likes this game. It seems to. Okay, actually I need to change this now, don't I? Oh, come on. Urbek, city builder, prologue. And then game, Urbek, city builder, there we go. Save. Alright. So this is just a demo of this, but I remember they sent this to me a long time ago. So we're gonna see what this one's about. I do think I played a little bit of this. I don't think I liked it too much. Sure. Enter city name. Villa Flores. Okay. Temperate. I don't think this is the communist simulator, though. Sure. I hope this is going to take me through a tutorial here, but we'll find out, I guess. Welcome to Urbek. That's a little loud. There? Okay, keep that. Anyway, game is incomplete. Well, okay, so they put out, I know there's a full version of this, so they must have just abandoned the demo here. So maybe this isn't worth playing after all then. You can move with WASD. Zoom out with that. Rotate with that, okay. Press U to show interface. Press C to switch camera. I see. Isometric and top down. Build a road to a minimum of 6 spaces heading to a forest. Heading into a forest. Does that not count? Build 6 fields. You can drag and drop this field. They cannot be more than 5 spaces from a road, okay. Build 6 houses. They cannot be more than 3 spaces. Information about tile, right-clicking it or using a magnifying glass. You can bulldoze to destroy trees. Wood is required to continue building houses. Build a lumber camp in the forest adjacent to your settlement. Trees were planted after cut down. Okay. A lumber camp. Is there a better forest? I mean, sort of. Let's drag this out a little bit more. Let's actually build it like right here. No place to build a lumber camp. Okay, we'll build it right here then. And then I'll build a road coming around this way. I mean, I guess I should just keep going with it. There. Try to reach 100 population. Okay. That's not a very robust tutorial, is it? So if we get 36... That's a wooden hut, huh? It's just trees. So that's 6 people apiece then, I guess. There is a speed up. I wonder why one of them develops as a tree. Well, this one is a tree. Like, this one says it's a wooden hut. And it apparently takes forever. They only appear if your town has a surplus of food, which it absolutely does not. Okay. We need to destroy the trees here. Holy crap. Well, there's my population. Press Control to view your city from an inhabitant's point of view. Okay. Minecraft mode. Mouse to look around, left click to ascend, right to descend and control, to return to normal view. Click on the farm icon in the bottom menu. See a farmhouse button's now appeared. Hovering over a locked item gives you requirements in case you need to reach 200 population. More buildings become visible. Okay, reach 200 population to get the farmhouse. Okay. It did say these can go 3 from a road. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not planning anything. I'm just building it. Tutorials need to be a little bit more tutorial-y. Okay, we're almost to hit 200 here. Now what? Food. Food. $200. Farmhouse. I see. Probably put that near the farms, huh? Build at least 2 farmhouses. They produce a large amount of food while consuming nothing. Okay. No farmhouse in a 5 radius. 12 or more farm in a 3 radius. I see. No farmhouse within 5. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to build more then. Hotkeys are displayed whatever. Select magnifying glass, click on wooden huts, be represented with several upgrade paths. Upgrade 2, a village house. Unlock 300 population and another farmhouse. Alright, let's focus on a village house. Let's see. I need energy. Build a lumberjack cabin. Also needs 300 population. Oh boy. I got bored with the mouse game. I was just starting to get really involved, and I didn't really want to commit that much time to something I was just trying to look at. But yeah, this one is this one's not so great either. I don't need another farmhouse anyway. The thing is, though, I mean, there's almost no point in even playing this, to be honest, because there's, oh boy. It's gonna have to go way out here. Because it literally said at the beginning that it's unfinished, because they stopped doing anything with the demo, I guess, once they released the full game. But I've got a lot of games on my list here, I just want to check them out. Okay, I still don't have the population, and I need energy, which comes from the lumberjack, right? Okay. How do we still not have the population? I don't understand that. Okay, there's that. Lumberjack. No lumber camp in a 5 radius. Okay. Now what? Does this not count? Unlock parks. Neighborhood council. Density. Some houses in a radius. That's not what I wanted to do. Stop that. Village house. Energy. So build a lumberjack cabin close to your lumber camp, but it said it can't be close to my lumber camp. Lumberjack cabin also needs a pop. So, what the this said it cannot be that close to it. Village houses need happiness. Okay. I've had enough of this one already. This seems like a production chain kind of city builder, rather than just like an actual city builder. They need 3 farms next to them. But this needs more population. This needs, yeah, like this is, I don't know if this is a tutorial or if this is how the game actually is, where it's like a step-by-step, you unlock this, you do that, you whatever. I think we can probably call that one good too, actually. Let's do something else. No. So what other games have I been given? And we'll just go ahead and uninstall that one. I could even remove this from account. I think I will do so. Um, it did not take it out of my thing. I hope I didn't just get rid of another game from my account. Well, there is that. 23 gigabytes, that's going to take a while to download though. Oh, that's just how it is. I mean, somehow I get put onto these lists, and publishers, especially indie game publishers, just send out keys and emails and whatnot. I'm not exactly big enough to get the good keys for a lot of stuff. Occasionally I do, but not all the time. Let's see what we get here. No, the only feedback I ever do is through the video itself. And then just whatever review at the end. What is this one? It looks a little involved right now. Hmm. I just honestly, I don't really feel like playing a lot of these right now, even just to give them a look. I don't know. I've been struggling to think of something I want to actually play on stream lately. And really, this one is just kind of a test to even see if if we've got the stream set up properly this time. Well, heck. Play a little more time. Could give that a shot. Depends on how big it is. 4 gigabytes. Okay, that's going to take a little while to download. Never mind that then. I don't know. I guess I could just cut this one short today too. Um, with Gaz plays? I don't know. I talked about it a long time ago. Gaz, I think, came from probably some game, probably Warhammer or something related to an orc. Well, let's see this one. Okay, that's short. Let's see how long it takes to download that. It'll take it just a minute. Um, I don't know that it does. Like the first game I ever did on the channel was a Sims 3 Let's Play, and the avatar that I made for myself there was in the suit and vest, and then I put an eye patch on him because why not? And then that just sort of became part of the persona that I pushed, even though like I kind of thought that I was going to do more Sims on the channel initially, and then I just didn't. So I could probably change the avatar, but it's been my avatar for almost 13 years now, so changing that would be changing the brand. Okay, I think hopefully this won't take too long. Install that. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I never really used the character as anything. Outside of The Sims, it has never been relevant. I don't brand my videos with any, like the personal thumbnails or anything like that. So I don't know. It's just how it is. But I don't really touch any of that stuff. Like I haven't ever changed my banner on the channel. Come on, open up. I haven't. I haven't ever really gotten into that. What? The game won't even open. What the hell? It's not running. Okay. Run as administrator. Let's try that instead. Well, now I'm worried. Now I'm worried that it's running in the background. And I can't close it. It is. It is running several times in the background. So is Microsoft Edge. Why? I don't have that open. Okay. There. Got rid of all those. Alright, let's try this again. Oh boy. I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people, especially my longer videos, just kind of use my videos for background noise, which is fine. Okay, this is not opening. Fantastic. Well, this is just going great for me today. What else do I have available? Uh, Honestly, I kind of just want to cut it short today. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I mean, unless I did kind of say that I was going to start using the stream sort of as a planning thing more than actually playing games. So maybe we'll do something quite a bit different next time. Let's at least open that. Okay, I don't know that this is going to go well for the stream, but yeah, I think we'll just do that. I think I'll just go ahead and close this one. What's that? Was I? Well, that's fun. Maybe I should maybe I should do my GhazReads instead and just do audiobooks so I can send people to sleep. Well, I could do that. Next stream I could just do reading. I think there are actually a couple games that I have that are just mostly text. I guess I could. I could do a reading stream next time. Actually, tell you what, I still got an hour, and I know a book that I do want to read. It is supposed to be the worst book ever written, if I can find it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know that I need to rebrand it, but I could do a separate channel for that. I did want to look into a career for voiceover at one point. Maybe we'll do that. Did you? Let's open that up real quick. I haven't been on Discord in like a month. I should probably return to that. I don't know, if I start doing the streaming only on only on YouTube, maybe I can incorporate Discord a little bit more. What in the hell? Even Discord isn't starting right now. This does not fill me with delight. My CPU is fine. Do a Q&A. I was going to do a big update video again. I was going to do it at the start of the year. I was going to do it for my birthday, and now it's probably not going to happen until the 13th anniversary channel update. Holy crap, are you for real? Okay, we'll close that and start Discord again. Now it's just giving me a blank screen. It's opened it, but it's not showing me anything. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, it was a long time ago. I used to do more frequent update videos. But not so much lately. Wow. Okay. I think I'm just going to have to do a complete restart of my computer at some point. It's not even opening that. Uninstall and reinstall Discord. Alright, well, I can't open Discord now, so that's great. Yeah, screw it. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what I would react to. Okay. Well, I can read this at least. So, listen to Mario Jazz for just a minute. I'll take a bio break and I'll come back and we'll finish the stream with a little bit of a reading here. Okay, I'm back. Let me just find something first, though. This is not really... let's see. Hey. That's a pretty good one. Let's go with that. Now, if I just open up my Photoshop here. You saw my most recent video, which was like 8 years ago. So yeah, I would be much younger in that video. Come on, open. Jeez, at least something opens in here. Criminy. New file, please. Jeez Louise. Something is wrong with my computer and I don't like it. Okay. Convert. That's not great. Alright, whatever, it'll work for now. I will save this. I said I will save this. Fucking Christ. I'm losing it. Nothing's going right now. Okay. What? I see what happened here. What I actually need to do here is add an image. And instead turn that off and go like that. And then we just delete that one out of here. Okay. Are we all here right now? Okay. This is just my slapdash we'll put together here. Did it flip over there? It flipped over. Hooray! Stream. We'll call this GhazReads, and this is going to be the Eye of Argon. This does not have a game attached to it. We're just going to keep it in gaming anyhow. It probably is. I just looked for library fireplace online, and this is what showed up. So, okay. And then we're going to switch over to something a little more appropriate than Mario Jazz. Okay. Sure, we'll do this one. We'll hope it's all copyright free. Probably not. I mean, nothing is copyright free, but at the very least, hopefully it will not be flagged by YouTube. It's a little loud, little loud. The original size of the image was like 600. I blew it up twice, and then it's now pulling at 1920 by 1080. So it's probably fuzzy as hell and terrible, but this is, I didn't have time for stuff. Anyway, how's that soundtrack? I'm gonna listen to the Age of Conan in the back. Is that still too loud? Is it overshadowing my voice? I mean, it might end up being as soon as it ramps up again. I don't know. Here, let's go back. I'll just scale it back so you can barely hear something. Well, that's not appropriate to the theme of what I'm about to read, so maybe we can pick a different song, though. Isn't there just like ambient barbarian music? Whatever. Anyway, okay. The worst book ever written, apparently. The Eye of Argon by Jim Thies. Are we ready? Here we go. The weather-beaten trail wound ahead into the dust-racked climes of the barren land which dominates large portions of the Norgolian Empire. Age-worn hoof prints smothered by the sifting sands of time shone dully against the dust-splattered crust of earth. The tireless sun cast its parching rays of incandescence from overhead, halfway through its daily revolution. Small rodents scampered about, occupying themselves in the daily accomplishments of their dismal lives. Dust sprayed over 3 heaving mounts in blinding clouds, while they bore the burdensome cargoes of their struggling overseers. "Prepare to embrace your creators in the Stygian haunts of hell, barbarian," gasped the first soldier. "Only after you've kissed the fleeting steed of death, wretch," returned Grigner. A sweeping blade of flashing steel riveted from the massive barbarian's hide-enameled shield as his rippling right arm thrust forth, sending a steel-shod blade to the hilt into the soldier's vital organs. The disemboweled mercenary crumpled from his saddle and sank to the clouded sward, sprinkling the parched dust with crimson droplets of escaping life fluid. The enthused barbarian swiveled about, his shock of fiery red hair tossing robustly in the humid air currents as he faced the attack of the defeated soldier's fellow in arms. "Damn you, barbarian!" shrieked the soldier as he observed his comrade in death. There are a ton of run-on sentences in this, by the way, and boy, a gleaming scimitar smote a heavy blow against the renegade's spiked helmet, bringing a heavy cloud over the accordion's misting brain. Shaking off the effects of the pounding blow to his head, Grigner brought down his scarlet-streaked edge against the soldier's crudely forged hauberk, clanging harmlessly to the left side of his opponent. The soldier's steed whinnied as he directed the horse back from the driving blade of the barbarian. Grigner leashed his mount forward as the hoarsely piercing battle cry of his wilderness-bred race resounded from his grinding lungs. A twirling blade bounced harmlessly from the mighty thief's buckler as his rolling right arm cleft upward, sending a foot of blinding steel ripping through the Cimmerian's exposed gullet. A gasping gurgle from the soldier's writhing mouth as he tumbled to the golden sand at his feet and wormed agonizingly in his deathbed. Grignir's emerald-green orbs glared lustfully at the wallowing soldier struggling before his chestnut-swirled mount. His scowling voice reverberated over the dying form in a tone of mocking mirth. "You city-bred dog should learn not to antagonize your better." Reining his weary mount ahead, Grignir resumed his journey to the Norgolian city of Gorzam, hoping to discover wine, women, and adventure to boil the wild blood coursing through his savage veins. The trek to Gorzam was forced upon Grignir when the soldiers of Krynn were leashed upon him by a faithless concubine he had wooed. His scandalous activities throughout the Cimmerian city had unleashed throngs of havoc and uproar among its refined patricians, leading them to tack a heavy reward over his head. He had barely managed to escape through the back entrance of the inn he had been guzzling in as a squad of soldiers pounced upon him. After spilling a spout of blood from the leader of the mercenaries as he dismembered one of the officer's arms, he retreated to his mount to make his way towards Gorzam, rumored to contain hordes of plunder and many young wenches for any man who has the backbone to wrest them away. This is hard to read. Chapter 2. Arriving after dusk in Gorzam, Grignir descended down a dismal alley, reining his horse before a beaten tavern. The red-haired giant strode into the dimly lit hostelry, reeking of foul odors and cheap wine. The air was heavy with choking fumes spewing from smoldering torches encased within Theden's earthen-packed walls. The den's earthen-packed walls. This is completely unedited, by the way. This is how it's supposed to be. Tables were clustered with groups of drunken thieves and cutthroats, tossing dice or making love to willing prostitutes. Eyeing a slender female crouched alone at a nearby bench, Grignir advanced, wishing to wholesomely occupy his time. The flickering torches cast weird shafts of luminescence dancing over the half-naked harlot of his choice, her stringy orchid twines of hair swaying gracefully over the lithe, opaque nose as she raised a half-drained mug to her pale red lips. Glancing upward, the alluring complexion noted the stalwart giant as he rapidly approached. A faint glimmer sparked from the pair of deep blue ovals of the amorous female as she motioned toward Grignir, enticing him to join her. The barbarian seated himself upon a stool at the wench's side, exposing his body, naked save for a loincloth brandishing a long steel broadsword, an iron-spiraled battle helmet, and a thick leather sandals, to her unobstructed view. "Thou hast need to occupy your time, barbarian?" questioned the female. "Only if something worth offering is within my reach," stated Grignir as his hands crept to embrace the tempting female, who welcomed them with open willingness. "From where do you come, barbarian, and by what are you called?" gasped the complying wench, as Grignir— this might be too hot for YouTube, I don't know, man. As Grignir smothered her lips with a blazing touch of too loud of a damn soundtrack, with the blazing touch of his flaming mouth. The engrossed titan ignored the queries of the inquisitive female, pulling her towards him and crushing her sagging nipples to his chest. Pulling her towards him and crushing her sagging nipples to his yearning chest. Without struggle, she gave in, winding her soft arms around the harshly bronze hide of Grignir's corded shoulder blades as his calloused hands caressed her firm, protruding busts. What the fuck am I reading? "You make love well, wench," admitted Grignir as he reached for the vessel of potent wine his charge had been quaffing. A flying foot caught the mug Grignir had taken hold of, sending its blood-red contents sloshing over a flickering crescent, leashing tongues of bright orange flame to the foot-trodden floor. "Remove yourself, sirrah, the wench belongs to me," blabbered a drunken soldier, too far consumed by the influences of his virile brew to take note of the superior size of his adversary. Grignir lithely bounded from the startled female, his face lit up to an ashen red ferocity, and eyes locked in a searing feral blaze toward the swaying soldier. To hell with you, braggart, bellowed the angered accordion as he hefted his finely honed broadsword. The staggering soldier clumsily reached towards the pommel of his dangling sword, but before his hands ever touched the oaken hilt, a silvered flash was slicing the heavy air. The thews of the savage's lashing right arm bulged from the glistening bronzed hide as his blade bit deeply into the soldier's neck, lopping off the confused head of his senseless tormentor. That is one sentence, by the way. That entire thing was one run-on sentence. With a nauseating thud, the severed oval toppled to the floor as the segregated torso of Grignir's bovine antagonist swayed, then collapsed in a pool of swirled crimson. In the confusion, the soldier's fellows confronted Grignir with unsheathed cutlasses directed toward the latter's scowling makeup. "The slut should have picked his quarry more carefully," roared the victor in a mocking baritone growl as he wiped his dripping blade on the prostrate form and returned it to its scabbard. "The fool should have shown more prudence. However, you shall rue your actions while rotting in the pits," stated one of the sprawled soldier's comrades. Grignir's hands began to remove his blade from its leather housing, but retarded the motion in faces of the blades waving before his face. "Dismiss your hand from the hilt, barbarian, or you shall find a foot of steel sheathed in your gizzard." Grignir weighed his position, observing his plight, whereupon he took the soldier's advice as the only logical choice. To attempt to hack his way through his present predicament could only warrant certain death. He was of no mind to bring upon his own demise if an alternate path presented itself. The will to necessitate his life forced him to yield to the superior forces, in hopes of a moment of carelessness later upon the part of his captors, in which he could effect a more plausible means of escape. "You may steady your arms. I will go without a struggle. Your decision is a wise one, yet perhaps you would have been better off had you forced death." The soldier's mouth wrinkled to a sadistic grin of knowing mirth as he prodded his prisoner on with his sword point. After an indiscriminate period of marching through slinking alleyways and dim moonlighted streets, the procession confronted a massive seraglio. The palace area was surrounded by an iron grating with a lush garden upon all sides. The group was admitted through the gilded gateway, and Grignir was led along a stone pathway bordered by plush vegetation lustfully enhanced by the moon's shimmering rays. Upon reaching the palace, the group was granted entrance, and after several minutes of explanation, led through several winding corridors to a richly draped chamber. Confronting the group was a short, stocky man seated upon a golden throne. Tapestries of richly draped regal blue silk covered all the walls of the chamber, while the steps leading to the throne were plated with sparkling white ivory. The man upon the throne had a naked wench seated at each of his arms, and a trusted advisor seated in back of him. At each corner of the chamber a guard stood at attention, with upraised pikes supported in their hands, golden chainmail adorning their torsos, and bared helms emitting scarlet plumes enshrouding their heads. The man rose from his throne to the dais surrounding it. His plush turquoise robe dangled loosely from his chunky frame. The soldiers surrounding Grignir fell to their knees with heads bowed to the stone masonry of the floor in fearful dignity of their sovereign, liege. "Explain the purpose of this intrusion upon my chateau." "Your serenity, resplendent in noble grandeur, we have brought this yokel before you," the soldier gestured toward Grignir, "for the redress of your all-knowing wisdom in judgment regarding his fate." "Down on your knees, lout, and pay proper homage to your sovereign," commanded the pudgy noble to Grignir. "By the surly beard of Mriffic, Grignir kneels to no man," scowled the massive barbarian. "You dare to deal this blasphemous act to me? You are indeed brave, stranger, yet your valor smacks of foolishness. I find you to be the only fool sitting upon your pompous throne, enhancing the rolling flabs of your belly in the midst of your elaborate luxury, and—" The soldier standing at Grignir's side smote him heavily in the face with the flat of his sword, cutting short the harsh words and knocking his battered helmet to the masonry with an echoing clang. The paunchy noble's sagging round face flushed suddenly pale, then pastily lit up to a lustrous cherry-red radiance. His lips trembled with malicious rage while emitting a muffled sibilant gibberish. His sagging flabs rolled with it like a tub of This is hard. His sagging flabs rolled like a tub of upset jelly, then compressed as he sucked in his gut in an attempt to conceal his softness. The prince regained his stature, then spoke to the soldiers surrounding Grignir. I'm just reading what it says here. His face conforming to an ugly expression of sadistic humor. "Take this uncouth heathen to the vault of misery, and be sure that his agonies are long and drawn out before death can release him." "As you wish, sire. Your command shall be heeded immediately," answered the soldier on the right of Grignir as he stared into the barbarian's seemingly unaffected face. The advisor seated in the back of the noble slowly rose and advanced to the side of his master, motioning the wenches seated at his sides to remove themselves. He lowered his head and whispered to the noble, "Eminence, the punishment you have decreed will cause much misery to this scum, yet it will only last a short time. Then release him to a land beyond the sufferings of the human body. Why not mellow him in one of the subterranean vaults for a few days, then send him to life labor in one of your buried mines? To one such as he, a life spent in the this is continuing the dialogue. To one such as he, a life spent in the confinement of the Stygian pits will be an infinitely more appropriate and lasting torture." The noble cupped his drooping double chin in the folds of his brimming palm, meditating for a moment upon the rationality of the counselor's words, then raised his shaggy brown eyebrows and turned toward the advisor, eyes aglow. We're gonna move on to the next song, if you please. "As always, Hagafnd, you speak with great wisdom. Your words ring of great knowledge concerning the nature of one such as he," saith the king. The noble turned toward the prisoner with a noticeable shimmer reflecting in his frog-like eyes and his lips contorting to a greasy grin. "I have decided to void my previous decree. The prisoner shall be removed to one of the palace's underground vaults. There he shall stay until I have decided that he has sufficiently simmered, whereupon he is to be allowed to spend the remainder of his days at labor in one of my mines." Upon hearing this, Grignir realized that his fate would be far less merciful than death to one such as he, who is used to roaming the countryside at will. A life of confinement would be more than his body and mind could stand up to. This type of life would be immeasurably worse than death. "I shall never understand the ways of your twisted civilization. I simply defend my honor and am condemned to life confinement by a pig who sits on his royal ass wooing whores and knows nothing of the affairs of the land he imagines to rule." Lectures Grignir. There's a question mark there. "Enough of this. Away with the slut before I lose my control." Seeing the peril of his position, Grignir searched for an opening. Crushing prudence to the sword, he plowed into the soldier at his left arm, taking hold of his sword, and bounding to the dais, supporting the prince before the startled guards could regain their composure. Agafnd leapt Grignir and his sire, but found a sword blade permeating the length of his ribs before he could loose his weapon. The counselor slumped to his knees as Grignir slid his crimson blade from Agafnd's rib cage. The fat prince stood undulating in insurmountable fear before the edge of the fiery-maned comet, his flabs of jellied blubber pulsating to and fro in ripples of flowing terror. "Where is your wisdom and power now, your majesty?" growled Grignir. The prince went rigid as Grignir discerned him gazing over his shoulder. He swiveled to note the cause of the noble's attention, raised his sword over his head and prepared to leash a vicious downward cleft, but fell short as the haft of his steel-rimmed pike clashed against his unguarded skull. Then blackness and solitude, silence enshrouding, and ever peaceful reigned supreme. "Before me, sirrah, before me as always, ha 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 ha," nobly cackled. Wow. Boy. Chapter 3. Sorry, I need to take a moment. Okay, sorry, I haven't been paying attention to chat. How's it going from outer space? Okay. It looks like we're about a quarter of the way through the book here. Chapter 3. Consciousness returned to Grignir in stigmatic pools as his mind gradually cleared of the cobwebs cluttering its inner recesses, yet the Stygian cloud of charcoal ebony remained, an incompatible shield of blackness, enhanced by the bleak absence of sound. "Hey, Alex. Grignir's muddled brain reeled from the shock of the blow he had received to the base of his skull. The events leading to his predicament were slow to filter back to him. He dickered with the notion that he was dead and had descended or sunk, however it may be, to the shadowed land beyond the aperture of the grave, but rejected this hypothesis when his memory sifted back within his grips. That was one sentence. This was not the land of the dead. It was something infinitely more precarious than anything the grave could offer. Death promised an infinity of peace, not the finite misery of an inactive life of confined torture, forever concealed from the life-bearing shafts of the beloved rising sun. The orb that had been before taken for granted, yet now cherished above all else. To be forever refused further glimpses of the snow-capped summits of the land of his birth, never again to witness the thrill of plundering unexplored lands beyond the crest of a bleeding horizon, and perhaps worst of all, the denial to ever again encompass the lustful excitement of caressing the naked curves of the body of a trim young wench. Yound wench is actually what it says, not young. This was indeed one of the buried chasms of hell concealed within the inner depths of the palace's despised interior. A fearful ebony chamber devised to drive to the brinks of insanity the minds of the unfortunately condemned through the inapt solitude of a limbo of listless, dreary silence. So, we'll take a moment here. We'll take a moment here to explain that this was apparently written by this guy when he was like 16 years old or something, and he submitted it or something like that. And anyway, it took on a life and became like the worst prose novel ever written. And he hated that became his reputation because he became a better writer as he got older, but this just stuck around, and apparently there's like reading parties and stuff. And people will do as I am doing and read this terrible thing to each other for laughs. Anyway, chapter 3.5, which is actually what it says. A tightly wrung elliptical circle or torches cast their wavering shafts prancing morbidly over the smooth surface of a rectangular ridged altar. Expertly chiseled forms of grotesque gargoyles graced the oblique rim, protubrating the length of the grim orifice of death, staring forever ahead into nothingness in complete ignorance of the bloody rites enacted in their presence. Brown flaking stains decorated the golden right-hand corner of the altar. The slit stood above a crudely pounded pail, which had several silver mesh chalices hanging at its sides. Dangling at the rim of golden mallet, the hand of which was engraved with images of twisted faces and groved at its far end with slots designed for a snug hand grip. The head of the mallet was slightly larger than a clenched fist and shaped into a smooth oval mass. Encircling the marble altar was a congregation of leering shaman. Eerie chants of a bygone age, originating unknown eons before the memory of man, were being uttered from the buried recesses of the acolytes' deep lings. Orange paint was smeared in generous globules over the tops of the priests' wrinkled, shaven scalps, while golden rings projected from the lobes of their pink ears. Ornate robes of luscious purple satin enclosed their bulging torsos, attached around their waists with silvered silk lashes latched with ebony buckles in the shape of morose, misshaped skulls. Dangling around their necks were oval-fashioned medallions held by thin gold chains, featuring in their centers blood-red rubies which resembled crimson fetish eyeballs. Cushioning their bare feet were plush red felt slippers with pointed golden spikes projecting from their tips. Situated in front of the altar and directly adjacent to the copper pail was a massive jade idol, a misshaped, hideous bust of the shaman's pagan deity. The shimmering green idol was placed in a sitting posture on an ornately carved golden throne raised upon a round, ivory-plated dais, its bulging arms and webbed hands resting on the padded arms of the seat. Its head was entwined in golden snake-like coils hanging over its oblong ears, which tapered off to thin hollow points. Its nose was a bulging triangular mass, sunken in at its sides with toe-gaping nostrils. Dramatic beneath the nostrils was a twisted, shaggy-lipped mouth, giving the impression of a slavering, sadistic grimace. At the foot of the heathen deity, a slender... I don't think this is even deity. The word is deity, is how he's got written. Maybe I should be saying it the way it's written. At the foot of the heathen deity, a slender, pale-faced female, naked but for a golden jeweled harness enshrouding her huge outcropping breasts, supporting long silver laces which extended to her thigh, stood before the pearl-white field with noticeable shivers traveling up and down the length of her exquisitely molded body. Her delicate lips trembled beneath soft, narrow hands as she attempted to conceal herself from the piercing stare of the ambivalent idol. Glaring directly down towards her was the stony cycloptic face of the bloated deity. Gaping from its single, oblong socket was scintillating, many-faceted scarlet emerald. A brilliant gem seeming to possess a life all its own. A priceless gleaming stone capable of domineering the wealth of conquering empires. The Eye of Argon. He said the thing. Chapter 4. Well, I mean, it's very, very obviously inspired by the old Conan stories. But, yeah, boy. Chapter 4. Looks like we're about a third of the way through. All knowledge of measuring time had escaped Grignir. When a person is deprived of the sun, moon, and stars, he loses all conception of time as he had previously understood it. It seemed as if years had passed if time were being measured by terms of misery and mental anguish, yet he had estimated that his stay had only been a few days in length. He had slept 3 times and had been fed 5 times since his awakening in the crypt. However, when the actions of the body are restricted, its needs are also affected. The need for nourishment and slumber are directly proportional to the functions the body has performed, meaning that when free and active, Grignir may become hungry every 6 hours and witness the desire for sleep every 15 hours, whereas in his present condition he may encounter the need for food every 10 hours and the want for rest every 20 hours. All methods he had before depended upon were instinct in the dismal pit. Hence he may have been imprisoned for 10 minutes or 10 years, he did not know, resulting in a disheartened emotion deep within his being. The food, if you can honor the moldering lumps of fetid mush to that extent, was borne to him by 2 guards who opened a portal at the top of his enclosure and shoved it to him in wooden bowls, retrieving the food and water bowls from his bowels from his previous meals at the same time, after which they threw back the bolts on the iron latch and returned to their other duties. Since deprived of all other means of nourishment, Grignir was impelled to eat the tainted slop in order to ward off the pangs of starvation. Though he had stuffed it into his mouth with his filthy fingers and struggled to force it down his throat, he imagined it was that which had been spurned by the hounds stationed at various segments of the palace. There was little in the barren vault that could occupy his body or mind. He had paced out the length and width of the enclosure time and time again, and tested every granite slab which consisted the walls of the prison in hopes of finding a hidden passage to freedom, all of which was to no avail other than to keep him busy and distract his mind from wandering to thoughts of what he believed was his future. He had memorized the number of strides from one end to the other of the cell, and knew the exact number of slabs which made up the bleak dungeon. Numerous schemes were introduced and alternately discarded in turn as they succored to unravel to him no means of escape which stood the slightest chance of success. Anguish continued to mount as his means of occupation were rapidly exhausted. Suddenly, without no tive, he was routed from his contemplations as he detected a faint scratching sound at the end of the crypt opposite him. The sound seemed to be caused by something trying to escape away at the granite blocks the floor of the enclosure consisted of, the sandy scratching of something like an animal's claws, and it is time to change the soundtrack again. Grignir gradually groped his way to the other end of the vault, carefully feeling his way along with his hands ahead of him. When a few inches from the wall, a loud penetrating squeal and the scampering of small padded feet reverberated from the walls of the roughly hewn chamber. Grignir threw his hands up to shield his face and flung himself backwards upon his buttocks. A fuzzy form bounded to his hairy chest, burying its talons in his flesh while gnashing toward his throat with its grinding white teeth, its sour, fetid breath scorching the squirming barbarian's dilating nostrils. Grignir grappled with the lashing flexor muscles of the repugnant body of a gargantuan brown-hided rat, striving to hold its razor teeth from his juicy jugular as its beady gray organs of sight glazed into the flaring emeralds of its prey. Taking hold of the rodent around its lean, growling stomach with both hands, Grignir pried it from his crimson-rent breast, removing small patches of flayed flesh from his chest in the motion between the squalid black claws of the starving beast. Holding the rodent at arm's length, he cupped his right hand over its frothing face, contracting his fingers into a vice-like fist over the quivering head. Retaining his grip on the rat, Grignir flexed his outstretched arms while slowly twisting his right hand clockwise and his left hand counterclockwise motion. The rodent let out a tortured squall, drawing scarlet as it violently dug its foam-flecked fangs into the barbarian's sweating palm, causing his face to contort to an ugly grimace as he cursed beneath his breath. With a loud crack, the rodent's head parted from its squirming torso, sending out a sprinkling shower of crimson gore and trailing a slimy string of disjointed vertebrae, snapped trachea, esophagus and jugular, disjointed hyoid bone, morose purpled stretched hide, and blood-smeared muscles. Flinging the broken body to the floor, Grignir shook his blood-streaked hands and wiped them against his thigh until dry, then wiped the blood that had showered his face and from his eyes. Again, sitting himself upon the jagged floor, he prepared to once more revamp his glum meditations. He told himself that as long as he still breathed the gust of life through his lungs, hope was not lost. He told himself this, but found it hard to comprehend in his gloomy surroundings. Yet he was still alive, his bulging sinews at their peak of marvel, his struggling mind floating in a mirror of impressed excellence of thought. Plot after plot sifted through his mind in energetic contemplations. Then it hit him. Minutes may have passed in silent thought, or days, he could not tell, but he stumbled at last upon a plan that he considered as holding a slight margin of plausibility. He might die in the attempt, but he knew he would not submit without a final bloody struggle. It was not a foolproof plan, yet it built up a store of renewed vortexed energy in his overwrought soul. Though he might perish in the execution of the escape, he would still be escaping the life of infinite torture in store for him. Either way, he would still cheat the gloating prince of the succored revenge his sadistic mind craved so dearly. The guards would soon come to bear him off to the prince's buried mines of dread, giving him the sought-after opportunity to execute his newly formulated plan. Groping his way along the rough floor, Grignir finally found his tool in a pool of congealed gore. The carcass of the decapitated rodent, the tool that the very filth he had been sentenced to spawned. When the time came for action, he would have to be prepared, so he set himself to rending the sticky hulk in grim silence, searching by the touch of his fingertips for the lever to freedom. Oh boy. Yes, there's a lot of very verbose descriptions of very mundane things in this. Okay. Chapter 5. Up to the altar and be done with it, wench, ordered a fidgeting shaman as he gave the female a grim stare, accompanied by the wrinkling of his lips to a mirthful grin of delight. Okay, so the lady's still waiting to be sacrificed. Hopefully it hasn't been 10 years, like Grignir thought. The girl burst into a slow, steady whimper, stooping shakily to her knees and cringing woefully from the priest with both arms wound snake-like around the bulging jade chin rising before her scantily attired figure. Her face was redly inflamed from the salty flow of tears spouting from her glassy, dilated eyeballs. With short, heavy footfalls, the priest approached the female, his piercing stare never wavering from her quivering young countenance. Halting before the terrified girl, he projected his arms outward and motioned her to arise with an upward movement of his hand. The girl's whimpering increased slightly, and she sunk closer to the floor rather than arising. The flickering torches outlined her trim build with a weird, ornate glow as it cast a ghostly shadow dancing in horrid waves of splendor over smoothly worn whiteness of the marble-hewn altar. The shaman's lips curled back farther, exposing a set of black and decaying molars, which transformed his slovenly grin into a wide, greasy arc of sadistic mirth, and alternately interposed into the female a strong sensation of stomach-curdling nausea. That is quite the grin if you can see his molars. That is quite the mouth. Have it as you will, female, gloated the enhanced priest, as he bent over at the waist, projecting his ape-like arms forward and clasped the female's slender arms with his hairy rounded fists. With an inward surge of his biceps, he harshly jerked the trembling girl to her feet and smothered her salty, wet cheeks with the moldy touch of his decrepit, dull red lips. The vile stench of the shaman's hot, fetid breath overcame the nauseated female with a deep, soul-searing sickness, causing her to wrench her head backward and regurgitate a slimy orange-white stream of swelling gore over the richly woven purple robe of the enthused acolyte. The priest's lips trembled with a malicious rage as he removed his callous paws from the girl's arms and replaced them with tightly around her undulating neck, shaking her violently to and fro.
The girl gasped a tortured groan from her clamped lungs, her sea-blue eyes bulging forth from damp sockets. Cocking her right foot backward, she leashed it desperately outwards with the strength of a demon possessed, lodging her sandaled foot squarely between the shaman's testicles. The startled priest released his crushing grip, crimping his body over at the waist, overlooking his recessed belly, wide open in a deep chasm. His face flushed to a rose-red shade of crimson, eyelids fluttering wide with eyeballs protruding blindly outward from their sockets to their outmost perimeters, while his lips quivered wildly about, allowing an agonized wallow to gust forth as his breath billowed from burning lungs. His hands reached out, clutching his urinary gland as his knees wobbled rapidly about for seconds, then buckled, causing the ruptured shaman to collapse in an egg-huddled mass to the granite pavement, rolling helplessly about in his agony. What the fuck? The pathetic screeches of the shaman groveling in dejected misery upon the hand-hewn granite-laid pavement, worn smooth by countless hours of arduous sweat and toil, a welter of ichor oozing through his clenched hands — holy shit, she kicked him hard — attracted the perturbed attention of his comrades from their fetid ululations. The actions of this rebellious wench bespoke the credence of an unheard of sacrilege. Never before in a lost maze of untold eons had a chosen one dared to demonstrate such blasphemy in the face of the cult's idolic deity. The girl cowered in unreasoning terror, helpless in the face of the emblazoned acolyte's rage. Her orchid-tussled face smothered betwixt her bulging bosom as she shut her What? Her curled lash tightly, hoping to open them and find herself awakening from a morbid nightmare. So her breasts are so large she just buried her face in it, is what I feel that said. God damn. Yet the hand of destiny decreed her no such mercy, the antagonized pack of leering shaman converging tensely upon her prostrate form were entangled all too lividly in the grim web of reality. Shuddering from the clammy touch of the shaman as they grappled with her supple form, hands wrenching at her slender arms and legs in all directions, her bare body being molested in the midst of a labyrinth of orange smudges, purpled satin, and mangled skulls, shadowed in an eerie crimson glow, her confused head reeled and clouded in a mist of enshrouding ebony as she lapsed beneath the protective sheet of unconsciousness to a land peach and resign. God damn, this is hard to read. Wow. Okay, apparently YouTube has decided that it is going to do ads for a moment. Okay, I'm gonna skip the ads here so we can continue on here. Chapter 6. Maybe change the soundtrack a little bit, just a little bit. I can't really go lower. A hymn for King Conan, sure. Chapter 6. Take hold of this rope, said the first soldier, and climb out from your pit, slut. Your presence is requested in another far deeper hellhole. Grignr slipped his right hand to his thigh, concealing a small opaque object beneath the folds of the G-string wrapped around his waist. Brine wells swelled in Grignr's cold, jade-squinting eyes, which, grown accustomed to the gloom of the Stygian pools of ebony engulfing him, were bedazzled and blinded by flickering radiance cast forth by the second soldier's resin torch. Tightly gripped in the second soldier's right hand, opposite the intermittent torch, was a large double-edged axe, a long leather-wound oaken-handled transfixing the center of the weapon's iron head. Adorning the torsos of both the sentries were thin yet sturdy hauberks, the breastplates of which were woven of tightly hemmed... Wow, so, like, it's hard enough to read as it is, but then trying to also read the typos is also... Oh boy. The breastplates of which were woven of tightly hemmed twines of reinforced silver braiding. Cupping the soldiers' feet were thick leather sandals, wound about their shins to 2 inches below their knees. Wrapped about their waists were wide satin girdles, with slender bladed poignards dangling loosely from them, the hilts of which featured scarlet-encrusted gems. Resting upon the manes of their heads and reaching midway to their brows were smooth copper morions. Spiraling the lower portion of the helmet were short, up-curved silver spikes, while a golden hump spired from the top of each bassinet. Beneath their chins, wound around their necks and draping their clad shoulders, dangled regal purple satin cloaks, which flowed midway to the soldiers' feet. Hand over hand, feet braced against the dank walls of the enclosure, huge Grignir ascended from the moldering depths of the forlorn abyss. His swelled limbs stiff due to the boredom of a timeless inactivity, compounded by the musty atmosphere no, that's not what it says at all. Compounded by the musty atmosphere and jagged granite protuberance against his body, craved for action. The opportunity now presenting itself served the purpose of oiling his rusty joints and honing his dulled senses. He braced himself, facing the second soldier. The sentry's stature was wildly exaggerated in the glare of the flickering crescent cuppix in his right fist. His eyes were wide open in a slightly slanted owlish glaze, enhanced in their sinister intensity by the hawk-bill curve of his nose and pale yellow peak of his cheeks. "Place your hands behind your back," said the second soldier as he raised his axe over his right shoulder blade and cast it a wavering glance. "You must bind your wrists. We must bind your wrists to parry any attempts at escape. Be sure to make the knot a stout one, Broig. We wouldn't want our guest to take leave of our guidance." Broig grasped Grignir's left wrist and reached for the barbarian's right wrist. Grignir wrenched his right arm free and swiveled to face Broig, reach beneath his loincloth with his right hand. The sentry grappled at his girdle for the sheathed dagger, but recoiled short of his intentions as Grignir's right arm swept to his gorge. The soldier went limp, his bobbing eyes rolling beneath fluttering eyelids, a deep welt across his spouting gullet. Without lingering to observe the result of his efforts, Grignir dropped to his knees. The second soldier's axe cleft over Grignir's head in a blaze of silvered ferocity, severing several scarlet locks from his scalp. Coming to rest in his fellow's stomach, the iron head crashed through mail and flesh with splintering force, spilling a pool of crimson entrails over the granite paving. Before the sentry could wrench his axe free from his comrade's carcass, he found Grignir's massive hands clasped about his throat, choking the life from his clamped lungs. With a zealous grunt, the accordion flexed his tightly corded biceps, forcing the grim-faced soldier to one knee. The sentry plunged his right fist into Grignir's face, digging his grimy nails into the barbarian's flesh. Ejaculating a curse through rasping teeth, Grignir surged the bulk of his weight forward, bowling the besieged soldier over upon his back. The sentry's arms collapsed to his thighs, shuddering convulsively, his bulging eyes staring blindly from a bloated, cherry-red face. Rising to his feet, Grignir shook the blood from his eyes, ruffling his surly red mane as a brush fire swaying to the nighttime breeze. Stooping over the sprawled corpse of the first soldier, Grignir retrieved a small white object from a pool of congealing gore. Snorting a gusty billow of mirth, he once more concealed the tiny object beneath his loincloth, the tediously honed pelvis bone of the broken rodent. That must have been one hell of a big rodent. Returning his attention toward the second soldier, Grignir turned to the task of attiring his limbs. To move about freely through the dim recesses of the castle would require the grotesque garb of its soldiery. Utilizing the silence and stealth acquired in the untamed climes of his childhood, Grignir slinked through twisting corridors and winding stairways, lighting his way with the confiscated torch of his dispatched guardian. Knowing where his steps were leading to, Grignir meandered aimlessly in search of an exit from the chateau's dim confines. The wild blood coursing through his veins yearned for the undefiled freedom of the livid wilderness lands. Coming upon a fork in the passage, he shrieked. Voices accompanied by clinking footfalls discerned to his sensitive ears from the left corridor. Wishing to avoid contact, Grignir veered to the right passageway. If acquested as to the purpose of his presence, his barbarous accent would reveal his identity, being that his attire was not that of the castle's mercenary troops. I thought he put those on. In grim silence, Grignir treaded down the dingily lit corridor, a stalking panther creeping warily along on padded feet. After an interminable period of wandering through the dull corridors, no gaps to break the monotonies of the cold gray walls, Grignir espied a small winding staircase. Descending the flight of arced granite slabs to their posterior, Grignir was confronted by a short hallway leading to a tall arched wooden doorway. Halting before the teeming portal, Grignir rests his shaggy head sideways against the barrier. Detecting no sounds from within, he grasped the looped metal handle of the door, his arms surging with a tremendous effort of bulging muscles, yet the door would not budge. Retrieving his axe from where he had sheathed it beneath his girdle, he hefted it in his mighty hands with an with a with an a with what the fuck is that word? With an apest grunt, and wedging one of its blackened edges into the crack between the portal and its iron-rimmed sill. Iron-rimed sill is actually what it says. Bracing his sandaled right foot against the roughly hewn wall, teeth tightly clenched, Grignir epilevered the oaken haft, employing it as a lever whereby to pry open the barrier. The leather-wound hilt bending to its utmost limits of endurance, the massive portal swung open with a grating of snapped latch and rusty iron hinges. Glancing about the dust-swirled room in the gloomily dancing glare of his flickering cresset, Grignir eyed evidences of the enclosure being nothing more than a forgotten storeroom. Miscellaneous articles required for the maintenance of the castle were piled in disorganized heaps at infrequent intervals toward the wall opposite the barbarian's piercing stare. Utilizing long, bounding strides, Grignir paced his way over to the mounds of supplies to discover if any articles of value were contained within their midst. Detecting a faint clinking sound, Grignir sprawled to his left side with the speed of a striking cobra, landing harshly upon his back, torch and axe loudly clattering to the floor in a morass of sparks and flame. An elm-woven board leaped from collapsed flooring, clashing against the jagged flooring and spewing a shower of orange and yellow sparks over Grignir's startled face. Rising uneasily to his feet, the half-stunned accordion glared down at the gruesome arm of death he had unwittingly sprung. Murfik! Mrifk. What the I think that's supposed to be his god. I don't know. I mean, it looks like I'm a little over halfway here. So we'll see if we can make it to the next chapter at least. If not for his keen auditory organs and lighting steeled reflexes, Grignir would have been groping through the shadowed hell pits of the Grim Reaper. He had unknowingly stumbled upon an ancient, long-forgotten booby trap, a mistake which would have stunted the perusal of longevity of one less agile. A mechanism similar in type to that of a miniature catapult had concealed beneath two collapsible sections of granite flooring. The arm of the device was 4 feet long, boasting razor-like cleats at regular intervals along its face with which it was to skewer the luckless body of its would-be victim. Grignir had stepped upon a concealed catch, which released a small metal latch beneath the two granite sections, causing them to fall inward and thereby loose the spiked arm of death they precariously held in. Partially out of curiosity and partially out of an inordinate fear of becoming a pincushion for a possible second trap, Grignir plunged his torch into the exposed gap in the floor. The floor of a second chamber stood out 7 feet below the glare. Tossing his torch through the aperture, Grignir grasped the side of an adjoining tile, dropping down. Glancing about the room, Grignir discovered that he had descended into the palace's mausoleum. Rectangular stone crypts cluttered the floor at evenly placed intervals. The tops of the enclosures were plated with thick layers of virgin gold, while the sides were plated with white ivory, at one time sparkling but now grown dingy through the passage of the rays of all-encompassing Mother Time. God damn. Featured at the head of each sarcophagus in tarnished silver was an expugnatively carved likeness of its rotting inhabitant. A dingy atmosphere pervaded the air of the chamber, which, sealed in the enclosure for an unknown period, had grown thick and stale. Intermingling with the curdled currents was the repugnant stench of slowly moldering flesh, creeping ever slowly but surely through minute cracks in the numerous vaults. Due to the embalming of the bodies, their flesh decayed at a much slower rate than is normal, yet the nauseous odor was nonetheless repellent. Towering over Grignir's head was the trap he released. The mechanism of the miniaturized catapult was cluttered with mildew and cobwebs. Notwithstanding these relics of antiquity, its efficiency remained unimpinged. To the right of the trap wound a short stairway through a recess in the ceiling, a concealed entrance leading to the mausoleum for which the catapult had obviously been erected as a silent, relentless guardian. Climbing up the side of the device, Grignir set to the task of resetting its mechanism. In the event that a search was organized, it would prove well to leave no evidence of his presence open to wandering eyes. Besides, it might even serve to dwindle the size of an opposing force, except that it crashed through the floor and left a gaping hole that he crawled through. How's that going to cover it up? Descending from his perch, Grignir was startled by a faintly muffled scream of horrified desperation. His hair prickled yawkishly in disorganized clumps along his scalp, as his cold danced along the length of his spinal cord. No mortal barrier, human or otherwise, was capable of arousing the numbing sensation of fear inside of Grignir's smoldering soul. However, he was overwrought by the forces of the barbarian's instinctive fear of the supernatural. His mighty thews had always served to adequately conquer any tangible foe, but the intangible was something distant and terrible. Dim, horrifying tales passed by word of mouth over glimmering campfires and skins of wine had more than once served the purpose of chilling the marrowed core of his sturdy-limbed bones. Yet the scream contained a strangely human quality, unlike that which Grignir imagined would come from the lungs of a demon or spirit, making Grignir take short, nervous strides advancing to the sarcophagus from which the sound was issuing. Clenching his teeth in an attempt to steel his jangled nerves, Grignir slid the engraved slab from the vault with a sharp rasp of grinding stone. Another long-drawn cry of terror-infested anguish met the barbarian, scoring like the shrill piping of a demented banshee, piercing the inner fibers of his superstitious brain with primitive dread, and awe. Stooping over to espy the tomb's contents, the glittering Ecordion's nostrils were singed by the scorching aroma of a moldering corpse, long shut up and fermenting, the same putrid scent which permeated the entire chamber, though multiplied to a much more concentrated dosage. The shriveled, leathery packet of crumpling bones and dried flacking flesh offered no resistance, but remained in a fixed position of perpetual vigilance, watching over its dim abode from hollow, gaping sockets. The tortured cries were not coming from the tomb, but from some hidden depth below. Pulling the reeking corpse from its resting place, Grignir tossed it to the floor in a broken, mangled heap. Upon one side of the crypt's bottom was attached a series of hinges, while running parallel along the opposite side of a convex railing-like protuberance, laid so as to appear as a part of the interior surface of the sarcophagus. Raising the slab upon its bronze hinges, long removed from the gaze of human eyes, Grignir perceived a scene which caused his blood to smolder not unlike bubbling molten lava. Directly below him, a whimpering female lay stretched upon a smooth-surfaced marble altar. A pack of grassy-faced shaman clustered around her in a tight circular formation. Crouched over the girl was a tall, pot-bellied priest, his face dominated by a disgusting open-mouthed grimace of sadistic glee. Suspended from the acolyte's clenched right hand was a carven oval-faced mallet, which he waved menacingly over the girl's shadowed face, an incoherent gibberish flowing from his grinning, thick-lipped mouth. In the face of the amorphous, broad-breasted female, stretched out alluringly before his gaping eyes, the universal whim of nature filing a plea of despair inside of his white-hot soul, Grignir acted in the only manner he could perceive. Giving vent to a hoarse, throat-rending battle cry, Grignir plunged into the midst of the startled shaman, torch simmering in his left hand and axe twirling in his right hand. A gaunt, skull-faced priest standing at the far side of the altar clutched desperately at his throat, coughing furiously in an attempt to catch his breath. Lurching helplessly to and fro, the acolyte pitched headlong against the gleaming base of a massive jade idol. Writhing agonizedly against the hideous image, foam flecking his chalk-white lips, the priest struggled helplessly, the victim of an epileptic seizure. How convenient! Startled by the barbarians' stunning appearance, the chronic fit of their fellow, and the fear that Grignir might be the avant-garde of a conquering force dedicated to the cause of destroying their degenerated cult, the salmon momentarily lost their composure. Giving vent to heedless pandemonium, the priests fell easy prey to Grignir's sweeping arc of crimson death and maiming destruction. The acolyte performing the sacrifice took a vicious blow to the stomach, hands clutching vitals and severed spinal cord as he sprawled over the altar. The disorganized priests lurched and staggered with split skulls, dismembered limbs, and spewing entrails before the enraged Ecordion's relentless onslaught. The howls of the maimed and dying reverberated against the walls of the tiny chamber, a chorus of hell fraught despair as the granite floor ran red with blood. The entire chamber was encompassed in the heat of raw savage butchery as Grigners luxuriated in the grips of a primitive, beastly bloodlust. Presently, all went silent. This actually says silenet. Save for the ebbing groans of the sinking shaman and Grignir's heaving breath accompanied by several gusty curses. The well had run dry. No more lambs remained for the slaughter. The rampaging stead of death, having taken of Grignir for the moment, left the barbarian free to the exploitation of his other perusals. Towering over his head was the misshaped image of the cult's hideous deity, Argon. The fantastic size of the idol in consideration of its being of pure jade was enough to cause the senses of any man to stagger and reel, yet thus was not the case for the behemoth. He had paid only casual notice to this incredible fact, while riveting the whole of his attention upon the jewel protruding from the idol's sole socket, its masterfully cut faucets emitting blinding rays of hypnotizing beauty. After all, a man cannot slink from a heavily guarded palace while burdened down by the intense bulk of a squatting statue, providing, of course, that the idol can even be hefted, which in fact was beyond the reaches of Grignir's coursing stamina. On the other hand, the jewel, gigantic as it was, would not present a hindrance of any mean concern. "Help me, please. I can make it well worth your while," pleaded a soft, anguish-strewn voice wafting over Grignir's shoulders as he plucked the dull red emerald from its roots. Red emeralds, huh? Turning, Grignir faced the female that had lured him into this bloodbath, but whom had become all but forgotten in the heat of the battle. "You!" ejaculated the accordion in a pleased tone. "I thought that I had seen the last of you at the tavern. Verily, I was mistaken." Grignir advanced into the grips of the female's entrancing stare, severing the golden chains that held her captive upon the altar's highly polished face of ornamental limestone. I thought it was marble. I thought it was a white marble altar. The limestone altar. Okay, as Grignir lifted the girl from the altar, her arms wound dexterously about his neck, soft and smooth against his harsh exterior. "Art thou pleased that we have chanced to meet once again?" That was Grignir. Grignir merely voiced an aside grunt, returning the damsel's embrace, while he smothered her trim, delicate lips between the coursing protrusions of his reeking maw. "What?" "Let us take leave of this wretched chamber," stated Grignir as he placed the female upon her feet. She swooned a moment, causing Grignir to give her support, then regained her stance. "Art thou able to find your way through the cursed passages of this castle? Mrifk! Every one of the corridors of this damned place are identical." "Aye, I was at one time a slave of Prince Agapfim. His clammy touch sent a sour swill through my belly, but my efforts reaped a harvest. I gained the pig's liking, whereby he allowed me the freedom of the palace. It was through this means that I eventually managed to escape at the western gate. His trust found him with a dagger thrust his ribs." The wench stated. Oh, the wench stated. What? Okay, sorry. I had this completely wrong. Who was speaking what? Grignir asked, "Are you able to find your way through?" The girl says, "Yes, I was once a slave of the prince." And then she, I guess, stuck a dagger in his ribs. And then he just makes up a word completely here. His trust found him with a dagger thrust his ribs," the wench stated whimsically. "What were you doing at the tavern whence I discovered you?" asked Grignir as he lifted the female through the opening into the mausoleum. "I had sought to lay low from the palace's guards as they conducted their search for me. The tavern was seldom frequented by the palace guards, and my identity was unknown to the common soldiers. It was through the disturbance that you caused that the palace guards were attracted to the tavern. I was dragged away shortly after you were escorted to the palace." "What are you called by, female?" "Carthena, daughter of Mincardos, Duke of Barwego." We need to turn that down. Maybe? Combat Reborn. Maybe. Who knows? whose lands border along the northwestern fringes of Gorzum. I was paid as homage to Agafim upon his 38th year, husked the femme. And I am called a barbarian. And I am called a barbarian, I think is what... There is no intonation or inflection in any of this. There's drawings. Oh, the one I have doesn't have drawings. Let's see. And I am called a barbarian, grunted Grignir in a disgusted tone. Aye, the ways of our civilization are in many ways warped and distorted. But what is your calling? She queried bustily. Oh, I guess she can only emote with her enormous breasts or something. Grignir of Ecordia. Ah, I've heard vaguely of Ecordia. It is the hill country to the far east of the Norgolian Empire. I have also heard Agafim curse your land more than once when his troops were routed in the unaccustomed mountains and gorges, saith she. Aye, my people are not tarnished by petty luxuries and baubles. They remain fierce and unconquerable in their native climes. After reaching the hidden panel at the head of the stairway, Grignir was at a loss in regard to its operation. His fiercest heaves were as pebbles against burnished armor. Carthena had depressed a small symbol included within the elaborate design upon the panel, whereupon it slowly slid into a cleft in the wall. How did you come to be victim of those craved shaman? Quested Grignir as he escorted Carthena through the piles of rummage on the left side of the trap. By Agafim's orders, I was thrusted into a secluded cell to await his passing of sentence. By some means, the priests of Argon acquired a set of keys to the cell. They slew the guard placed over me and abducted me to the chamber in which you chanced to come upon this... the what? The skadic? Okay, I'm gonna put this word in chat because, like, what the fuck is this? That is the word he is trying to make up here. The chamber in which you chance to come upon the Skazadic sacrifice. Their hell-spawned cult demands a sacrifice once every 3 moons upon its full journey through the heavens. They were startled by your unannounced appearance through the fear that you had been sent to by Agafim. The prince would surely have submitted them to the most ghastly of tortures if he had ever discovered their unfaithfulness to Sargon, his bastard deity. Many of the partakers of the ritual were high nobles and high trustees of the inner palace. Agafim's pitiless wrath would have been unparalleled. They have no more to fear of Agafim now, bellowed Grignir in a deep, mirthful tone, a gleeful smirk upon his face. I have seen that they were delivered from his vengeance. Engrossed by Carthena's graceful stride and conversation, Grignir failed to take note of the footfalls rapidly approaching behind him. As he swung aside the arched portal linking the chamber with the corridors beyond, a maddened, blood-lusting screech reverberated from his eardrums. Seemingly utilizing the speed of thought, Grignir swiveled to face his unknown foe. With gaping eyes and widened jaws, Grignir raised his axe above his surly mien, but he was too late. Okay, we're getting close. We're getting close to the end here, but holy damn. I need a moment. Okay. Well, I don't know when the likes were put on the stream, but there have been 4 likes to this nonsense so far. Okay. Chapter 7. With wobbling knees and swimming head, the priest that had lapsed into an epileptic seizure rose unsteadily to his feet. While enacting his choking fit in writhing agony, the shaman was overlooked by Grignir. The barbarian had mistaken the seizure for the death throes of the acolyte, allowing the priest to avoid his stinging blade. The sight that met the priest's inflamed eyes nearly served to sprawl him upon the floor once more. The sacrificial sat it grim, blooded, splattered, silence. I think it's supposed to be in, but it says it. The sacrificial sat in grim, blood-splattered silence all around him, broken only by the occasional yelps and howls of his maimed and butchered fellows. Above his head rose the hideous idol, its empty socket holding the shaman's furbished, infuriated gaze. His eyes turned to a stony glaze with the realization of the pillage and blasphemy. Due to his high susceptibility following the seizure, the priest was transformed into a raving maniac bent solely upon wreaking vengeance. With lips curled and quivering, a crust of foam dripping from them, the acolyte drew a long, wicked-looking jewel-hilted scimitar from his silver girdle and fled through the aperture in the ceiling, uttering a faintly perceptible ceremonial gibberish. That was very, very hard to read. No, this is, when was this written? Like 1960 something? By like a 16-year-old boy? 1970. 1970 is when it was first printed. Yeah, so the author, Jim Thies, was 16 when he wrote this. And it has haunted him ever since, much to our amusement. Okay, chapter 7.5. A sweeping scimitar swung towards Grignir's head in a shadowed blur of motion. With axe raised over his head, Grignir prepared to parry the blow, while gaping wide-eyed in open-mouthed perplexity. Suddenly a sharp snap resounded behind the frothing shaman. The scimitar, halfway through its fatal sweep, dropped from a quivering, nerveless hand, clattering harmlessly to the stonage. Cutting his screech short with a bubbling red-mouthed gurgle, the lacerated acolyte staggered under the pressure of the released springboard. After a moment of hopeless struggling, the shaman buckled, sprawling face down in a widening pool of blood and entrails, his regal purple robe blending enhancingly with the swirling streams of crimson. "Mrifk, I thought I'd killed the last of those dogs," muttered Grignir in a half-apathetic state. "Nay, Grignir, you doubtless grew careless while giving vent to your lusts, but let us not tarry any long lest we overtax the fates. The paths leading to freedom will soon be barred. The wretch's cries must certainly have attracted unwanted attention," the wench mused. "By what direction shall we pursue our flight?" "Up that stair and down the corridor, a short distance, is the concealed entrance to a tunnel seldom used by others than the prince, and known to few others save the palace's royalty. It is you—" Okay, this is getting a little bit too loud. Let's move on from that one. "It is used mainly by the prince when he wishes to take leave of the palace in secret. It is not always in the prince's best interests to leave his chateau in public view. Even while under heavy guard, he is often assaulted by hurtling stones and rotting fruits. The commoners have little love for him," lectured the Nair lady. "It is amazing that they would ever have left a pig like him become their ruler. I should imagine that his people would rise up and crucify him like the dog he is." "Alas, Grignir, it is not as simple as all that. His soldiers are well paid by him. So long as he keeps their wages up, they will carry out his damned wish. His damned wished. The crude implements of the common folk would never stand up under an onslaught of forged blades and protective armor. They would be going to their own slaughter," stated Carthena to a confused but angered Grignir as they topped the stairway. "Yet how can they bear to live under such oppression? I would sooner die beneath the sword than live under such a dog's command," added Grignir as the pair stalked down the hall in the direction opposite that in which Grignir had come. "But all men are not of the same mold that you were born of. They choose to live as they are so as to save their filthy necks from the chopping block," returned Carthena in a disgusted tone as she cast he's used this word several times. That word. I have no idea what he's trying to say. She cast an ape's glance toward the stalwart figure at her side, whose left arm was wound dexterously about her slim waist, his slowly waning torch casting their images in intermingling wisps as it dangled from his left hand. Presently Carthena came upon the panel, concealed amongst the other granite slabs and discernible only by the burned-out cresset above it. As I pushed the cresset aside, pushed the panel inwards, Carthena motioned to the panel she was referring to and twisted the cresset in a counterclockwise motion. Grignir braced his right shoulder against the walling, concentrating the force of his bulk against it. The slab gradually swung inward with a slight grating sound. Carthena stooped beneath Grignir's corded arms and crawled upon all fours into the passage beyond. Grignir followed after easing the slab back into place. Winding before the pair was a dark, musty tunnel, exhibiting tangled spider webs from its ceiling to wall and an oozing, sickly slime running lazily upon its floor. Hanging from the chipped wall upon Grignir's right side was a half-moldered corpse, its gray flacking arms held in place by rusted iron manacles. Carthena flinched back into Grignir's arms at sight of the leering set in an ugly, distorted grimace, staring horribly at her from hollow, gaping sockets. This alcove must also be used by Agaphim as a torture chamber. I wonder how many of his enemies have disappeared into these haunts, never to be heard from again, pondered the hulking brute. Let us flee before we are also caught within Agaphim's ghastly clutches. The exit from this tunnel cannot be very far from here, said Carthena, with a slight sob to her voice, as she sagged in Grignir's encompassing embrace. It will be best to be finished with this corridor as soon as it is possible. But why do you flinch from the sight of death so? Rift, you have seen such death this day without exhibiting such emotions? Exclaimed Grignir as he led her trembling form along the dingy confines. The man hanging from the wall was Doyanta. He had committed the folly of showing affections for me in front of Agaphim. He never meant any harm by his actions. At this, Carthena broke into a slow, steady whimpering, choking her voice with gasping sobs. There was never anything between us, yet Agaphim did this to him, the beast. May the demons of hell's deepest haunts claw away at his wretched flesh for this merciless act, she prayed. I detect that you felt more for this fellow than you wish to let on, but enough of this. We can talk of such matters after we are once more free to do so. With this, Grignir lifted the grieved female to her feet and strode onward down the corridor, supporting the bulk of her weight with his surging left arm. Presently, a dim light was perceptibly filtering into the tunnel, casting a dim reddish hue upon the moldy wall of the passage's grim confines. Carthena had ceased her whimpering and partially regained her composure. The tunnel's end must be nearing. Rays of sunlight are beginning to seep into. Grignir clammed his right hand over Carthena's mouth, and with a slight struggle pulled her over to the shadows at the right-hand wall of the path, while at the same time thrusting his torch beneath an overhanging stone to smother its flickering rays. Be silent. I can hear footfalls approaching through the tunnel, growled Grignir in a hushed tone. All that you hear are the horses corralled at the far end of the tunnel. This is a further sign that we are nearing our goal, she stated. All that you hear is less than I hear. I hear footsteps coming towards us. Silence yourself, that we may find out whom we are being brought into contact with. I doubt that any would have thought as yet of searching this passage for us. The advantage of surprise will be upon our side, Grignir warned. Carthena cast her eyes downward and ceased in any further pursuit towards conversation, an irritating habit in which she had gained an amazing proficiency. She talks too much, I guess. Two figures came into the pair's view from around a turn in the tunnel. They were clothed in rich, luxuriant silks and rambling on in conversation while ignorant of their crouching foes waiting in an ambush ahead. That barbarian dog is cringing beneath the weight of the lash at this moment, sire. He shall cause no more disturbance. Aye, and so it is with any who dare to cross the path of Sargon's chosen one, said the second man. But the peasants are showing signs of growing unrest. They complain that they cannot feed their families while burdened with your taxes. I shall teach those sluts the meaning of humility. Order an immediate increase upon their taxes. They dare to question my sovereign authority? Ha! They shall soon learn what true oppression can be. I will... A shadowed bulk leapt from behind a jutting promontory as it brought down a double-edged axe with the speed of a striking thought. One of the nobles sagged lifeless to the ground, skull split to the teeth. Grignir gasped as he observed the bisected face set in its leering death agonies. It was Agaphim. The dead man's comrade, having recovered from his shock, drew a jewel-encrusted dagger from beneath the folds of his robe and lunged toward the barbarian's back. Grignir spun at the sound from behind and smashed down his crimsoned axe once more. His antagonist lunged, howling, to a stream of stagnant green water, grasping a spouting stump that had once been a wrist. Grignir raised his axe over his head and prepared to finish the incomplete job, but was deterred halfway through his lunge by a frenzied screech from behind. Carthena leapt to the head of the writhing figure, plunging a smoldering torch into the agonized face. The howls increased in their horrid intensity, stifled by the sizzling of roasting flesh, then died down until the man was reduced to a blubbering mass of squirming, insensate flesh. Grignir advanced to Carthena's side, wincing slightly from the putrid aroma of charred flesh that rose in a puff of thick white smog throughout the chamber. Carthena reeled slightly, staring dazedly down toward at her gruesome handiwork. I had to do it. It was Agaphim. I had to, she exclaimed. Sargon should be more careful of his right-hand men, added Grignir, a smug grin upon his lips. But to hell with Sargon for now. The stench is becoming bothersome to me. With that, Grignir grasped Carthena around the waist, leading her around the bend in the cave and into the open. A ball of feral red was rising through the mists of the eastern horizon, dissipating the slinking shadows of the night. A corral stood before the pair, enclosing, I think it's supposed to be a corral, enclosing two grazing mares. Grignir reached into a weighted-down leather pouch dangling at his side and drew forth the scintillant red emerald he had obtained from the bloated idol. Raising it toward the sun, he said, "We shall do well with bauble, eh?" Carthena gaped at the gem, gasping in a terrified manner. "The Eye of Argon! Oh, Kala!" At this, the gem gave off a blinding glow, then dribbled through Grignir's fingers in a slimy red ooze. Grignir stepped back, pushing Carthena behind him. The droplets of slime slowly converged into a pulsating, jelly-like mass. A single opening transfixed the blob, forming into a leech-like maw. Then the hideous transgressor of nature flowed toward Grignir, a trail of greenish slime lingering behind it. The single gap puckered repeatedly, emitting a ghastly sucking sound. Grignir spread his legs into a battle stance, steeling his quivering thews for a battle royal with a thing he knew not how to fight. Carthena wound her arms about her protector's neck, mumbling, "Kill it! Kill!" while her entire body trembled. The thing was almost upon Grignir when he buried his axe into the grisly maw. It passed through the blob and clanged upon the ground. Grignir drew his axe back with a film of yellow-green slime clinging to the blade. The thing was seemingly unaffected. Then it started to sluice up his leg. The hairs upon his nape stood on end from the slimy feel of the thing's bully bulk. The nauseous, I think it's supposed to be nauseous, the nauseous sucking sound became louder, and Grignir felt the blood being drawn from his body. With each hiss of hideous pucker, the thing increased in size. Grignir shook his foot about madly in an attempt to dislodge the blob, but it clung like a leech, still feeding upon his rapidly draining life fluid. He grasped with his hands, trying to rip it off, but only found his hands entangled in a sickly, glue-like substance. The slimy thing continued its puckering, now having grown the size of Grignir's leg from its vampiric feast. Grignir began to reel and stagger under the blob, his chalk-white face and faltering muscles attesting to the gigantic loss of blood. Carthena slipped from Grignir in a death-like faint, a marrow-chilling scream upon her red, rubish lips. In final desperation, Grignir grasped the smoldering torch upon the ground and plunged it into the reeking maw of the Travis tree. A shudder passed through the thing. Grignir felt the blackness closing upon his eyes, but held on with the last ebb of his rapidly waning vitality. He could feel its grip lessening as a hideous gurgling sound erupted from the writhing maw. The jelly-like mass began to bubble like a vat of boiling tar as quavers passed up and down its entire form. Okay, so that is apparently the end of the official story, but then there's the lost ending. With a sloshing plop, the thing fell to the ground, evaporating in a thick scarlet cloud until it reattained its original size. It remained thus for a moment as the puckered maw took the shape of a protruding red eyeball, the pupil of which seemed to unravel before it the tale of creation. How a shapeless mass slithered from the quagmires of the stigmatic pool of time, only to degenerate into a leprosy of avaricious lust. In that fleeting moment, the grim mystery of life was revealed before Grignir's ensnared gaze. The eyeballs glared turned to a sudden plea of mercy, a plea for the whole of humanity. Then the blob began to quiver with violent convulsions. The eyeballs shattered into 1,000 tiny fragments and evaporated in a curling wisp of scarlet mist. The very ground below the thing began to vibrate and swallowed up with a belch. The thing was gone forever. All that remained was a dark red blotch upon the face of the earth, blotching things up. Shaking his head, his shaggy mane to clear the jumbled fragments of his mind, Grignir tossed the limp female over his shoulder. Mounting one of the disgruntled mares and leading the other, the weary, scarred barbarian trooted slowly off into the horizon to become a tiny pinpoint in a filtered field of swirling blue mists, leaving the nobles, soldiers, and peasants to replace the missing monarch. Long live the king! Long live the king. Okay. It's done. That's it. The Eye of Argon, written by Jim Thies, winner of the J.T. Rikosh Award for Excellence. Wow. So what do you think? Should I start doing a GhazReads for stream now. Oh boy. That was certainly an adventure. I think part of it that is missing is that there are a number of typos. I guess Grignir was just meant to be like his version of Conan. But I don't think it ever took off into anything else. Like this is just like a one story thing. That's interesting though. What's the version that you found that has illustrations? I don't know if you can or not. Well, I did find one. It's got a couple pictures. It's not really illustrated. It's just pictures of the characters. Oh, whatever. Eye of Argon full text. It might be that one. I don't know. Oh boy, there's this one. This one has a few more. This one is on the Internet Archive. Huh. This one's got a few more illustrations here. Wow. Well, I'd heard about this, but I'd never read it. But yeah, it's a dog with a monobrow. Yeah, there is. That's funny. Okay, well. The woman with such large breasts, she emotes with them. Well, I think that, for one thing, because of how difficult it is to read and how bad the grammar is and all that, it definitely would be better to read this slower than I did. I was just trying to play for time here, and now we're just almost an hour over time. But, I mean, it's definitely hard to follow just by reading the damn thing. So I can understand that. Doing it like an audiobook or something would take a considerable amount of effort. It might be fun though. It might actually be fun to do bad books as well as good books every now and then. Find you know, the out of copyright stuff or whatever. Thing is though, I don't know if I'd want to do it like as a GhazReads, just occasional thing, just sort of like an offshoot, and put that on the Gaz Plays, or actually start a whole new channel just for the GhazReads stuff. Part of me thinks that would be very difficult to get anyone to even watch that. But they said they were huge. Like, I don't know. It's just funny. Just very funny descriptions. And just the words he made up, too. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Anyway, that was fun. I think we can call that a stream for today. Just a mix of everything all over the place. Maybe next time I'll figure something out that's a little bit better. I hope that the chat gets attached to this one this time. For some reason, last week's stream did not. I don't know why that is. All right. Well, who knows? I mean, it looks like off and on, several people popped into the stream, and they either popped back out or they all fell asleep. Who knows? But it looks like at my height today, I got 6 viewers, which is more than last time, so who knows? Maybe this still isn't going to be all that great. I guess it's a little bit better than Twitch was doing. Who knows? Anyway, I think we can end that one here for today. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good whatever. Who knows what we'll do next time? But I'll see you next week for more streaming fun.